Welcome to Aussie NFL SuperCoach Halfa. I'm Matty C, and I am doing something we haven't done before. Joined by, of course, our analyst extraordinaire, Taylor Goodall, better known sometimes as Carnell Tate's husband. What's going on there, big fella?
Matty C, I'm so hard. My downstairs looks like I've been taken by a beehive. Let's go.
I was getting nervous from the outset, mate. This live thing, I think, has kind of got us a bit jittery.
It sure does. I was like, I didn't have a lead in. There was no music. What is going on?
Oh, gosh. This is sort of a whole bunch of fun when you get us in front of a microphone that's open. We're generally a pretty good chance of saying something stupid or potentially getting cancelled. But here we are doing it live on YouTube. Thank you to everyone who's going to pop in and have a little look. Because also with us, Tay, I don't know how you managed to pull this coup off, but you've managed to secure for us a primo guest.
Yeah, me and him bring up the average height of this podcast, so we figured we would we would sort of sit it around the low 6 foot in average, mate. But yeah, we've brought on none other than Jackson Baum. He's a big part of our fantasy group that we have, and he obviously is big into SuperCoach in all the formats, mate. So welcome.
No, boys, thank you. I'm pumped for this. We're a few drafts in this year, so I'm backing myself in here tonight.
I'm glad because you have been very active in drafting some of your leagues. Like we're in this great big group chat of a whole bunch of great Aussie fantasy managers, and the energy you bring to that group, but also you've been bringing a lot of your decision making, and you've been canvassing the groom. You've been then also sharing why you lean the way you do because we know you dive deep into stats, and you've got some really great tools to work on doing that. So like it's just been so much fun watching you go through that because it's got us really hungry for the mock draft season now. But you've been drafting for keeps in a few already, mate. That's pretty serious.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, 16, I think 16 big time leagues. So I say big time as in just high investment leagues. Same people over the course of a good decade now. So we just try and space them out. Obviously, we do slow drafts for those that are new to draft. A slow draft is 24-hour clock, so you've got a bit of time to weigh up your pick, and it takes probably a good month for the draft to get done. So it allows you to pop into these chats and have a bit of a get some opinion. Sometimes I question, I might overthink a player, and so it's nice just to throw it in there and see what different perspectives are, because it either leads me back to what I was thinking, or someone will give me something else to ponder for the next 2 hours, and I'll just create unnecessary stress, which is beautiful.
So you wouldn't know anything about stress on a clock, would you?
No, not at all, mate. I'm always super prepared. You know me, Matty C. Not 1,000 things going through my head. I also love us on YouTube because all that was going through my head before we got here was, am I even allowed to swear? Am I allowed to say anything, or are we just going to get cancelled straight away? So we're going to find out if my phone explodes after I say something stupid. I'm pretty sure I just rhymed like mock draft with hive. I think I was trying to say live and hive. Does anyone care at this point? Let's just go.
It was, this is that thing of knowing that you're being live. I think this is not something that you and I are particularly used to in the podcast world. I'm okay with it when I'm commentating a gridiron game or what, I've got the live thing in some aspects of my life, but mate, this has been a really wild idea to pick this up. I'm glad we got Jackson with us though, because mate, you were a great contributor to last year when we were going through a carousel, having great Aussie fantasy managers on the show with us, and mate, you just sort of showed real comfort and aptitude to being in this sort of environment. It's not always for everyone, but mate, just took to it like a duck to water, and I feel like you kind of got us two pelicans pretty quickly as well.
Mate, you got it with a face like this, mate. You got to show it off.
That's why I'll join this.
Yeah, 100%. So look, we've got 12 heads in this draft. You can see 3 of them here, right? So you got Matty C, Taylor, we've got Jackson as well. But Tay, you actually managed to get an entire starting lineup of Aussie fantasy managers. Where have you found these people, mate?
Yeah, look, I brought Jackson in to bring up the height average. I also brought him in to bring up the handsomeness level of the 3 of us combined. So thank you again, Jackson, for bringing that up. Look, honestly, I'm absolutely stoked. Like, I put out the call to super coaches and a few different areas on Facebook groups and just some of the different groups like the Gibberers group and some Discord stuff. And you know, that everyone kind of kept trickling in. And then all of a sudden, like a couple of days ago, I was thinking, oh, maybe I'll reach out to sort of our main group just to see who wants to come on. Then all of a sudden, and they kept flowing in. Like all of a sudden, we were doing a 10-person draft. I had to actually extend it to a 12-person draft. And then I had about a 3 or 4-person waiting list at the end because, you know, there were so many super coaches that were keen. And it's actually awesome. Like, you know, we could have had people that we've had on the podcast before who have done fantasy drafts and stuff a lot before. But I thought it was really cool given, you know, we've sort of morphed over to the SuperCoach show to get, you know, SuperCoach players who have either done draft or haven't done draft at all. They might be classic players. They might have, you know, dabbled in draft. They might have done none of it. But it's really cool to get SuperCoaches because that's exactly what we're doing here this year. And, you know, I want people to, I guess, have a look at draft as well as classic and see what the differences are. So, mate, I can't wait for tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be a real cracker. And I think what'll be great about it is we're going to have folks who just come from such different backgrounds in fantasy as well, where I think usually, Tay, when we've run mock drafts, we've sort of found folks who are classic 10-team mock draft kind of, you know, 10-team league, 12-team, 16-team league sort of people. And I love that. You know, when you get a group of people who are live together in a room, make a decision on the clock, you can get people who will make decisions that an algorithm can't throw up for you when you're doing them on draft simulators. It really is the closest thing you get to the real exhilaration, but also it's a great test zone to just try out something and see how you like your team at the end. I really encourage people to do as much mock drafting as they can in the preseason. And mate, we always start pretty early. Here we are, middle of June. we are waiting.
We always like to go early, Matty. So you know us. But look, in the end, like you just sort of hit the nail on the head. The best part about getting the live drafters is that we're getting kind of a real look at what ADPs will be like. You know, there are some people in here that might not have done a lot of drafts, so you never know. There might be a quarterback or something go earlier than probably you would see in your normal sort of home league. But in general, getting, you know, 12 actual humans and 12 super coaches in, we're going to get a better look at what we might see later on when we're in draft season instead of what's in the ADPs in the moment with Sleeper, because they're kind of all over the shop. You know, people are probably taking Henry Ruggs and shit like that just to be wankers. So yeah, look, I think we're gonna get a final, you know, sort of look at what we're going to be looking at later.
Is he on the app? Is Henry Ruggs visibly
He
on the
was.
app?
Is he still on there? He was on there. I think they keep you on there for like 3 years. Like I know there's a couple of guys that passed away. Dwayne Haskins, I think it was, that stayed there for like 3 years.
Ages.
Yeah, it was like, and of course, you know, everyone being, you know, that guy just wanted to make the joke about, you know, trading Dwayne Haskins for like 3 years after he had passed away and stuff like that. But yeah, that's what the Sleepers like. They always give him a few years after they've either retired or retired from the earth.
Bit of respect.
Sometimes it's fun just to keep a really old retired player in your lineup, isn't it? Like, you know, we play a bit of Dynasty. So
a locker room guy. It's good to have a locker room presence, mate.
Yeah. Or just, you know, just to be a pain in the butt. There was a league we were in for ages where this bloke who was a big 49ers fan and Eels fan had Jared Hayne on his last spot on the bench for years. It was until they deleted him out of the game.
Bit of Val Holmes. Bit of Val.
I bought a Jared Hayne jersey, actually, so I'm guilty of that.
I don't know if we should say you're a good man anymore, Jackson. I don't know.
I'm a Queenslander, and I'm like, I hate him, but I just bought a 49ers one for some reason because it was there.
So good. Oh, my gosh.
We've got
12 guys in the league. Well, when we kick this draft off, we're going to kick it off at 8 o'clock Eastern time, which is in around about a minute's time. The way this is going to run is that we've got 12 people. It's a standard snake draft in a 1-quarterback PPR. There's 12 teams, 13 rounds. The pick's pretty uncontroversial. I'm just going to announce it and we'll move on. But where there are some things to talk about, us three lads will throw a hat in to talk about it. But also, we are aware that each pick has a maximum of 90 seconds, so we won't dwell too long and we'll keep it moving. But we do want to use this as a great opportunity to give people the idea of what does value look like for a player at a position? Where are big decision points? What's your team going to look like? Why are you passing a guy or picking up a guy now? Those kinds of decisions, especially from the three of us who are live in this room, you'll get. And then we can also probably do a little bit of, prophesizing what we think the other folks in the room are doing with their picks. And I'm looking forward to going through that process with you two big football brains. I'm looking forward to it.
And It's good because we're obviously in a draft style tonight, but it's not a bad thing to even mention, like, if a guy might be someone you're looking at for Classic this year. Like, I've brought up in the 2 pods we've done so far that, that obviously not all players. Often there aren't a lot of players that actually fit both molds. Like, they're a good value in ADP and they're actually going to be good value in Classic, because normally if they're good in ADP, it means they probably had a massive season the year before. So it doesn't really work out for that. But there are guys that sort of, fit the mold for both. But it's also good to sort of say, hey, I don't like this guy in draft, but hey, this guy might be a good guy in Classic this year.
I mean, This is the thing. We're going to try and cover a few bases with the show this year. So I think great to be able to offer that insight. Now, Tay, are we off and running?
We're off and running.
Come on, first pick.
Matty C loves a run.
Fozzie 1996 has got our first pick. Then Big Pappy will be after that. And then Tay's going to be in third. Tomo, fourth. Matty C, fifth. Harold, sixth. One Jesus is King, 1 at 7. Pug Life, 8. Skittles, 9. Picklekins at 10. Captain Spenper. And then Dude C, 21-10. Rounding it up. Tay, we've got a first pick.
We've got 2 picks in now, Matty C. We've got Jameer Gibbs in at 101. I think that's going to go back and forward in drafts between him and Bijan, I think. But Bijan went 102, so I'm on the clock. I will just point out, this league is a one, or you'll see it on the screen now, 1 QB league, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and 2 flex. We got rid of defense and kickers because they're not people and they can, eat my dick. So, all right, well, I'll quickly try and talk about this pick. I personally like to do my drafting in tiers, and I have a tier of 3 at the top of the draft. And so sitting at 103, I generally just let what is going to fall to me in that sort of 3-man tier fall to me. So I think Gibbs, Bijan, and Jamar Chase, to me, are a tier by themselves. Puka, we obviously know about his off-field stuff. I think he's going to be very good as well. So I understand people putting him in there. I just think that Jamar Chase, to me, with the offense, with Burrow, with how bad their defense is, I think the fact the Rams got a better defense with Myles Garrett, maybe that drops off Puka a little bit. I'm not saying Puka's a bad pick here, but I'm just saying that Jamar Chase ends a tier for me. So I'll be picking Jamar Chase.
Yeah, I mean, you can do worse, right, Jacko?
I think this year I've got Puka ahead of him.
That's fine.
Just because I don't believe in the Bengals. But in saying that, it's Chase Puka to me is Bijan Gibbs. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's real hard to go wrong.
Yep. Yeah, if you've got a tier of 4, I have nothing against you. It's just me personally. I've got that tier of 3. So I take the bottom of that tier and then I'm happy.
Yeah, I think this is where it gets fun, these top few picks, because I don't think you can actually pick incorrectly. It then comes down to your preference, right? And what the board offers you. And I mean, gosh, if you walk away with any of these top 4 or 5 players, then yeah, I think you're in a pretty good spot. And depending on who you include in your 4, you may even stretch it out to 5 if you include someone like Puka in your 4, or if you include someone like Jackson Smith and Jigba, who had a really great year last year. If you believe in the Christian McCaffrey renaissance again, given the volume vacuum that's happening in San Francisco, there's quite a lot of, I think, right answers at this time of year.
Yep.
So that'll be super interesting to see now where this goes with Tomo, because Tay, you say you got a tier of 3, Jacko, you got a tier of 4. It wasn't the 4th person. It wasn't who Jacko was thinking.
Oof, which means you're about to come in here if you think the same as I do and steal.
I feel like there's a bit of sniper action, a bit of analyst on analyst crime here.
The good thing is, I kind of have a tier of 4 guys in the second tier, but I wouldn't say they're super behind the top tier, if that makes sense. Obviously I have tiers for a reason. But I really don't think being in the middle of this draft is a bad spot, because those guys aren't a super big drop down. There is one guy in ADP right now that I have in this tier that isn't actually in the ADP at the moment. So, it's interesting seeing the ADPs in Sleeper at the moment.
Yeah. I'm not going to hold the draft up very much. I'm going to take Puka Nacua because I think he's the best player available. And I've got confidence that I'm going to get a really good value running back on the way back. So this is just a strategy decision for me. Probably more inclined to think about the running back in this bigger draft. But I do want to see what value running back comes back in a 12-team versus a 10-team. That puts Harold 99.
It's funny you say that, though. Like, from what I've seen early on, I do feel like there are good value running backs later. It's one of those years where sometimes there's a dead zone from like 20 to 30. I actually think there is pretty decent value in running backs later. Like I think a zero running back strategy where you're waiting at running back and trying to just fill it with weighted guys and trying to get those top end talents at other positions. I think it's pretty viable this year.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked quite a lot in the preseason about guys who we think are going to be pretty good value. And that we think, there's every year there's either a dead zone or a value zone, depending on what your preference is. Last year I thought it was a bit of a dead zone at running back. Turned out there's plenty of value. I'm now glass half full this year and think there's a value zone. At pick number 6, we saw Jackson Smith and Jigba go right behind me. And then our first quarterback off the board, King One, takes Josh Allen, only the number 1 quarterback in all of fantasy last year. 14 rushing touchdowns. It's hard to get that from a running back, let alone a quarterback. That's a heck of a place to start in the first round. Take a quarterback. What do you think there, Jacko?
I had a feeling he'd do that, and it's got me. This is what we're talking about off air, is how much I believe in a Taylor Cook versus an H.M. Barkley type, and where I sort of position them. And I guess I can speak strategy sort of out loud, right? My 30 seconds. If I take Taylor, I'm definitely not getting a Lamb, Amon-Ra, Jefferson on the flip, and so I just think the depth drop off at wide receiver when it comes to top end tier is not as good. I'd be more than happy to explain what running back I'm going to take on the way back. But from a wide receiver perspective, do I be biased? Look, I'm real high. Dak's going to have a good year. The boys are back. I'm taking CD Lamb.
I'm pretty drunk on CD Lamb this year too. He sort of comes right in there with Amon-Ra. To me, they're one and the same, and I'd be happy with either. I'm a big believer in CD this year.
Just worry with Amon-Ra. I love Amon-Ra. I've drafted him in the first round twice already so far this year. But I think with Gibbs now being free as the running back there, I just don't know how much more he'll get fed.
St. Brown's actually the one I have in that second tier. I really like him. I think he gets underrated every year because people see him as not special. Like people see him as this just volume hunter, and he never seems like he's going to be the guy that's going to be wide receiver 1, but you've got to pay like wide receiver 4 to 5 for him, so no one ever takes him. But he seems to just always be the one that delivers on where you draft him. So I really, really like him, but I'm fine with people taking shots because if Lamb all of a sudden, I think he's better than Pickens, and I think last year was a bit of an anomaly. So I think that there's a chance that people are letting Lamb slip because of what Pickens did last year, and I think it's a mistake. So there's a Dallas are just going to pass the shitload against this year. Sorry, there's been a lot of picks. I'll let you talk about it, mate.
I think, and CD missed more time, and Pickens didn't. I think that kind of lopsided it. But immediately after CD Lamb goes Amon-Ra and Brown. Jonathan Taylor, we've talked a bit about Jonathan Taylor in the last couple of weeks, and my Substack column to do with running backs dropped today, where I was a little critical about Jonathan Taylor, but I probably need to decide if I'm a believer or not. James Cook goes at number 11, and to wrap up our first round, Justin Jefferson goes to Dude C 2110. On the wraparound, immediately takes Ashton Genty. Now, that would make him the 6th running back off the board. How do you feel about that, fellas?
Optimistic, isn't he? He's an optimistic player.
It's the funny thing is, I think it's actually where he's going to go. This is why I brought him up as just an unbelievable classic asset this year, because people are going to take him in the first round again because of the change to Kyler Murray and the assumption that the offense is going to get better. But he's going to come in at some absurdly low price because of how shit he finished last year. So for draft, he's probably one I'm not going to touch because I think that price is too high for me. But you basically taking him assuming the offense is better, so I don't think there's any value there. But for classic, he's going to be amazing.
Yeah, I was just kind of worried what it's got to take for him to actually finish at the draft capital you're putting into him, picking him here, where the pick immediately after Saquon Barkley, I'm not so concerned about because I see the volume and I see that he's got the work rate. And he goes round to pick 2 to our number 11 player who also took James Cook. So we started with a really solid base of running backs where the other 2 fellas have already had their second round pick, have diversified. They've got a running back and a wide receiver as Drake London goes at the 3rd pick of the second round. And this is a real question for me when you're taking running back right at the top is he either needs to pay off the investment I'm putting in there or has to have some way to outrun it. I can't be taking the loss on my running back in the first round or two.
Yep. No, I hear. And just to go back to like how many running backs are starting to get taken, we've done this in 16 team drafts. The bigger the draft is, the more running backs I think just get taken earlier. it's because it just feels like there's more value, I guess, later in at wide receiver. But weirdly, like I just brought up, I don't know if that's the same this year. I actually think there are guys later that you can take shots on, which is rare. So there's definitely some starters that are later. But yeah, I'm not surprised people are really starting to lock in this second round into the running back position.
Yeah. Check out my love list too as part of the Substack article I released today on Substack at the Aussie Gridiron Network page. There's a few guys who are outside the top 30 at wide receiver who are loved, and then in the running back one today, guys outside the top 20 as well, who I think are pretty good value. But one I was a bit critical of is Kenneth Walker. Tay, you're going to go fisticuffs with me about this because I know you're a bit in love with Kenneth Walker. I was just nervous about his volume and his return in fantasy points last year in terms of the fantasy season. I know his playoffs are pretty mad, but you feel pretty good about him in Kansas City.
He's the rare one that I think is going to be one that I'm targeting in both classic and draft this year. I think his ADP is fine where it is. I think it is going up. I will admit, like 2.4 in a 12-man draft. You're not getting super value. So I will say that draft's probably getting closer to where I have him. I have a running back 4. But in classic, like he's going to be amazing. Like I think he finished at like high 20s in the running back position last year. So he's going to come over super value.
Yeah, he finished at 23 in standard scoring last year, so there's plenty of room for him to outplay his price, which we love. Devon Achane goes next. Now, I was sort of hoping people might sleep on him a little longer because I'm not very many picks away, but that's a bit wishful. He has just got the propensity to lead receiving for the Dolphins. His last 2 years had over 140 receptions, which is no joke. So just very handy, even if they may not necessarily be in goal-to-go situations a lot. We've got a lot of questions about their offense this year. But I love the pick. Jackson, what's driven you to Devon Achane, mate?
A combination of I was very close to Nico Collins and just going heavy wide receiver stack, but with the depth of running back, I don't love it after the next 6 or 7 go. And obviously we all want to try and get one in that flex position as well. So I think I just wanted to lock up a solid one off the board first just to remove that stress. And now I can get a little flirtatious with who else is coming.
Starting to weigh on my mind now that I've got a really great wide receiver and the running backs are starting to thin out. And do I contribute to that by also trying to just pick up a running back who I think is going to be great now? Or do I just take the best value and just hope one of the fellas who I think will be value come back around as Omarion Hampton and then Chase Brown go? They're two guys I've got very varied opinions on too. I really like Chase Brown again this year, but I'm a bit cool on Omarion Hampton. And I think Taylor and I are 100% going to have a water bet on that because Taylor is pretty warm on his Chargers, right, mate?
Yeah, I just think, the 2 returning offensive linemen, you bring Mike McDaniel in as an OC. I just think things are set up really well for this offense. And I didn't mind Kamani Vidal. Like, I think he'll have a place, but I just think this is the year. You drafted him 1, like in your first round last year. I just think this is the moment for him. With an upgraded offensive line, I think the sky's the limit for Hampton.
Now, I'm not going to hold the draft up very long again, and I already have my desired play here. I'm going to take Malik Neighbours. I feel like he comes back from the injury feeling really good, and I can see that team with Jackson Dart there last year was moving the ball, and he was able to make something out of everyone he had around, and all of a sudden he'll get probably the best player he may ever play with in his whole career back. I'm pretty comfortable with taking them to his bang, double shots at my wide receiver. So I feel like I might be able to make the most out of some of the less fancy running backs. And then that puts Tomo back on the clock here now, who's got McCaffrey in his holster. And then the guys at the top of the draft here, Taylor, Big Pappy, and Fozzie to go. So just give us a quick idea here now. You're a pick away from being on the clock. What are you sort of thinking now that you got Chase in your pocket and looking how this board's fallen, mate?
Yeah, I'll just tell, the way that I sort of look at drafting. I've got 4 guys that I've put in my queue that I'm happy to draft here. So the reason I do that is to try and stop tilting. People get on drafts, and when they've had their guy taken in front of them, A little tip is try and have multiple guys that you like coming up in your queue so that you don't have to fully deal with that. I had a feeling because honestly, the guy I like the most next isn't even
wasn't AJ
really
Brown, I hope.
No, it definitely wasn't. It's like I said, I had 4 guys anyway. It's really about I have 2 running backs and 2 wide receivers. I've got one that I have ranked like way higher than like anyone else in either position. He's not actually next in ADP, so I could technically play a game and wait. But I'm not going to do it. And even though I've gone wide receiver already, I've talked about the fact that I think there is actually guys I don't mind later at running back anyway. I'm actually going to go ahead and take Rashee Rice.
See, I felt like I could have predicted that, Tay.
I have him wide receiver 6. I just think he's so locked in. Yes, he's locked up. Yeah, I get that. But I really, for this, compared to what he dealt with before, I really don't think that's going to be a problem. Yet Mahomes, they're already talking like he's ahead of schedule, like they always are. I just think everything gets funneled to Rice and Walker this year. I think the offense has got to change, and they brought Walker in. That's why I like him, and they paid him. But I just love Rice. I just think he's got the old Kelsey role. He gets everything in the intermediate routes. I think that's what Mahomes is going to do. He's not going to be able to run as much, so I'm just high on Rice.
He's high on Rice. That's a sentence I didn't think I'd hear.
Can we speak on the AJ Brown second-round pick for a second?
Yeah.
Am I the only one that's a wee bit on the flabbergasted for that?
Hit us with it, Jackson. Hit us with it.
No, I'm interested. I mean, obviously, Thomas has his reasons. Maybe he's a big Drake May guy. I know Jared's watching us live as a Patriots fan. He's frothing a bit at that. But AJ Brown before a Nico Collins, even Rice has me wondering what he knows that we don't. Because I mean, I've been in four live drafts so far this year out of the 16 leagues, and AJ averages 4 to 7 somewhere in that round. So it was just an interesting one for me to see.
I would take him ahead of Collins.
Decide whether you believe or not that Drake May is going to be better for him than Jalen Hurts in that pretty run-heavy situation. And that
we all watched the Super Bowl, right? We all saw the Super Bowl. I don't think Drake's throwing. We need to see a little more.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and I think there's 2 camps. I reckon there's that be a little more tentative, and then there's the folks who are just willing to pin their ears back and go, "This is a better situation." And maybe Tom's onto something there. We'll see. To wrap up the round, we had Nico Collins go after Tay's Rashee Rice pick, and then speak of the devil, Drake May is the second quarterback off the board. He goes to Fozzie at the top of the draft there to wrap up the second round. He's got Jahmyr Gibbs, Drake May. Kicks off the next round with Brock Bowers. So he's picking up some of the onesie positions that we say, Tay. And I think if you're going to do that at this stage, you've got to have confidence that the people you're picking have a great chance to finish number 1 at that position. Because I think if you don't, and you're taking a guy either first or second in that position, you're setting the pick on fire otherwise, right?
So I'm happy with my decision in round 2 because the 3 other guys that I had queued, none of them went. So I do think the build of my team probably leans towards, and the fact I've got a massive weight, it probably leans towards running back here. I will say there is another receiver I'm super high on that I've got queued up, and he actually was a higher ADP than even Rice. But look, I will just say you can take another wide receiver here if you really want to lean in because you've got 2 flexes. So the fact that you've got 2 flexes changes things, and you can actually do that. But I'm going to go with Derrick Henry. I just think it's just more of the same for the Ravens. I don't see why. Until the wheels actually fall off this man, I just think he's constant value.
Yeah, the old sledgehammer, Derrick Henry, had 16 touchdowns last year, Tay, and what felt like a down year, 1,500 rushing yards. And, mate, he had
what a shit year, mate.
Rushes of 20 yards or more. What the hell is going on? Isn't he like 80 years old?
And now he's going at 303. Like, the respect is still not there. So, yeah, I'll scoop him up. I'll scoop him up as my running back 1 in the 3rd round if I have to.
Mate, he makes my love list too. A guy who makes my love list still is out there, so I'm hoping he might come back. But Tay, your team now, Jamar Chase, Rashee Rice, Derrick Henry, Big Pappy before you guys, Bijan, Nico
it's my boy!
He took Trey McBride. Now, Tay, we just saw Tomo make his move. He's got McCaffrey, AJ Brown. He's brought a 3rd head in.
That That was the guy I was talking about. I was like, there is another guy in another position that, the position I've already been drafting that I would take was 100% Olave. Absolutely love him. But I think the build for my team was a bit silly to let running back pass, given how many picks I got to wait. So, look, if I was going a bit frisky, I would have had Olave as my first flex. So I would have felt good about it. But I wouldn't have just been sure of what was coming back to me at running back. Matty C, there's another guy left on my queue. One guy left that I had on the turn when I picked second. I've got a feeling he might be who you pick here, but I'll wait and see.
Maybe. Because I'm very aware that my decisions have been shown on the live stream too, I'm trying not to give too much away, but I don't think there's going to be a lot of surprise with what I'm going to do here, Tay. When I click this button, I come down to Kyren Williams.
Yeah, that's it.
He makes my love list, and he is much later in ADP than what I'm paying for him, but he's not coming back. So I need to get him now. To me, he is a clear break in a tier before you get to guys like Josh Jacobs, Javante Williams, Jeremiah Love. Those to me are guys who are in the tier below. But to me, I still think Kyren Williams. I keep seeing it year after year. And I know that Blake Corum, people talk about Blake Corum as taking away any of that, but Williams continues to get the work. He still gets all those touches. He still gets all those yards. He still gets the goal line. And until somebody shows me otherwise, I think that's a good investment. And it's a better investment in my mind than Jeremiah Love. But then you say that and he goes to pick directly after me. So just in a quick recap here, Puka Nacua, Malik Neighbours and Kyren Williams are my team so far. Harold behind me has Jackson Smith and Jigba, Chase Brown. And now Jeremiah Love, the minted rookie over at the Arizona Cardinals. It puts Jesus the King on the clock. He's got Josh Allen and Marion Hampton. He's making a decision here. Tay, I feel like you have got no surprise about my Kyren Williams pick, mate. I've pretty much got him tattooed on the back of my eyelids.
I knew it was, and he was top of my queue. Honestly, if Derrick Henry went before me, I probably would have taken Kyren myself. I've got him back to back in my rankings. So, yeah, and I was just going to say quickly, I know Jackson's going to pick now.
After that blunder, there's a bit more talking to happen. I'll let you figure out what just happened.
Yeah, okay. I don't know if he's realised it isn't a 2 quarterback league. How good's YouTube Live? But I was just going to say, Matty, back to your point, if you've got a long wait in a draft, please just go off your own rankings. Like, you should probably go off your own rankings anyway. But if it's a guy far down in ADP and you only got to wait 4 picks or something, you can wait and play the ADP game. But in your situation, because you've got to wait God knows how many picks, 14, 16 picks or whatever it is, just follow your own rankings. Get the guy you want. That's my best 100%. Advice in draft.
In this setting, 11 teams aren't going to win the league. So if you're going to lose, and you've got a great chance that's going to be you, right? One in 12 is going to win it. Then you might as well lose with people you love. But imagine if you win with people you love. That's 100% my bumper sticker for life.
Yeah.
Hurts is now to Josh Allen.
To the Josh Allen.
And the great thing is this puts Jackson on the clock. And we've eaten up on the clock, but he's got Lamb and Achan. What are you doing, Jackson?
Mate, I'm a little bit torn here, but I'm high as a kite on this guy's talent. It's not his fault that he's being drafted to a rat shit team, and at some point he is going to be the man.
I'm with you.
Lock in that RB2 spot.
I think he's underrated this year, actually.
Very good player.
Yeah. So Breece Hall has always kind of been the volume player for the Jets, and I mean, it's not like they drag him off every third down either. He still gets some of that passing work. It's just the team's been in a bit of flux, and he's had his injuries. So any year could be Breece Hall's year. Do you remember before last season, he had been going as running back 2 behind McCaffrey 2 years ago. So, it's kind of weird to see that kind of potential all the way down here in the late part of the third round. But Quinshon Judkins goes next. He made my love list too, actually, not necessarily because his offense is going to be humming, but just I liked his volume numbers and the opportunity. And I think when they get close, it's going to be a ground attack to get the ball in. So he's high on my list, but he's part of that next tier. So I think he's going appropriately at 309 to Skittles. Nice pick there. And it puts Picklekins on the clock. We'll quickly recap those teams. CD Lamb, HN, and now Breece Hall for our man Jackson, and then Amon-Ra St. Brown, Kenneth Walker, and Quinshon Judkins goes to Skittles. We've got our 4th quarterback go at the moment now because Picklekins has got Jonathan Taylor, Drake London, and taken the great Lamar Jackson. Tay, we love him for SuperCoach Classic.
Well, I said the same about Jefferson before, right? It's all about value from last year. It's like okay, Lamar might be going at the same ADP as he was last year, so that doesn't make him guaranteed value in draft. But the fact is, he comes off like a quarterback 16 or something performance from last year. So you're getting massive value on the guy that's getting drafted as well in this draft, the quarterback 4. But I think technically he's like the second quarterback off the board in ADP at the moment. So yeah, in classic, Lamar's going to be very, very popular this year.
Zay
Yeah, I think
Flowers,
so too,
interesting. That's up there with
Yeah.
the AJ Brown.
Oh, tell us what you're thinking here, Jackson. Give us a quick recap of what you think of what you've just seen on that board, mate.
Oh, Brees is great. Judkins, I was a little bit curious on how early that could have gone. There's a few guys I have ahead of him in certain positions. I'm obviously not going to name them because I want to take them. The Zay Flowers one caught me off guard a little bit. I just don't think the Ravens are much chop. I don't think. Lamar, like how many games plus 200 does he average throwing? I'm just not huge on anything there unless it's their goal line boys. So I just was a little bit, surprised with that pick.
Yeah, well, and I think someone's got to pick them. So whoever has the balls to do it, and they've got to have their narrative for why they think it's a good pick. And then as we wrap this round out, we've got Lamar and then his boy Zay Flowers, and then to finish the round, George Pickens. So those teams there, it's James Cook, Saquon Barkley, and Zay Flowers for Captain Spenper, and then Dude C2110 has Jefferson, Genty, and Pickens. He then takes Jacobs to open the 4th round, and I think, there's a bit of, I think it's a bit polarizing. Jacobs, he's got all the off-field stuff, but he clearly wasn't the player he has been toward the end of last year as well. But he's still got quite a lot of the volume, and we don't expect Green Bay to be bad. So I can see the why in the 4th round that seems like it may be a value pick. And then we've got Captain Spenper back on the clock. Any picks there that take your fancy or you're not so keen on, Tay?
Yeah, I was just going to speak quick. I like the pick that he just took. When we get to that in a second. I was just going to say on Flowers too, like, it kind of it goes hand in hand with Lamar, right? Like, I remember I brought up in the classic quarterback show we did before the first ever season of SuperCoach, and I told people to be a little bit wary about Lamar because he was coming off a historic passing touchdown season. And then, so it's kind of a funny thing with Lamar because he had 2 years ago now, he had the historic season. Then all of a sudden he had such a down year last year. It's like, he's probably going to fit somewhere in the middle. So yeah, for classic, he's going to be fine. But for draft, he's a bit of an anomaly. But Zay's always been one that's just been super unreliable to me. Like, he finishes good at the end of the year, but for some reason, week to week, I don't trust him fully. T. Higgins was taken, like, as I said before I talked, I love the pick in the 4th. Like, I've always been a big T fan. I just think, like I said, I brought up with Jamar Chase, I just think their defense is going to be shit again. They're just going to be in so many shootouts. So yeah, I'm very happy with the Higgins pick.
Love it. And there's so many weeks where he can be a wide receiver 1 on that team, even with Chase around, that without Chase having a slouch. In terms of points per game, there's been years where those two have finished in the top 5. So you don't mind the volume there.
Can I just say, can I hear someone snoring? What's going on?
That would be one of my pugs.
Okay. Brilliant.
Not me, mate. I'm awake.
I'll be honest, I thought someone was trolling me as I was speaking. I was like, fuck, I've got to hurry up. Like, what do you make us trolling me that I'm speaking?
I'm going to start doing that now. This is throwing the door open.
These Apple noise cancelling headphones, fucking fake advertising.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Coulson Loveland goes. Tay, you're in love with him. Devontae Smith, who we think should have a slightly bigger role at the Eagles this year, but we'll see how that rookie goes. Makai Lemon goes there and changes things. But I'll get you, Jackson, to talk about your pick here at pick 5 in the 4th round. You've got Lamb, you've got Achane, and you've got Breece Hall. Where do you go next? Why?
So we've gone Trav Etienne for the first flex. Locking up running back. I mean, we know how thin they get and how fast they get and the quality there. I think he's going to be a stud. I like Stowe. I think the Saints are actually going to have a better season than last year. I think he'll bring a bit of enthusiasm to him. Etienne, I think he's a good runner. I think he's good. He's fast. I think he's going to bring a bit. The divisions, I think, manageable. I think there's some games there that he can pipe. And just in this particular format, I just think wide receivers run. I think the quality of wide receiver runs pretty deep. And so I'm pretty comfortable getting my receiver 2 and another receiver in the flex a little bit later at a position that's fathomable. But Yeah, if I can lock up some, I mean, I've got all three of those guys in the top 20 for running back. So
yeah.
I was surprised there wasn't a third quarterback there for Jesus King.
For those who are going to get this as an audio podcast later in the week, Jesus King goes straight after Jackson. He's got Josh Allen and Murray in Hampton. Jalen Hurts now picks up a second running back as well. So he's got 4 picks, 2 running backs, 2 quarterbacks. Gets Javonte Williams. Both Javonte and Travis Etienne make my love list too. Fair income. Love those blokes. And I'm actually a little bit ticked that neither of them fell to me. So I've got you half to blame for that, Jackson. But mate, if you weren't such a good bloke, I'd be dirty on you. And it does mean that
there's a few blokes
when it comes back around.
Mate, take the Scatterboo.
I've got
have you got a bit of a crush on Scatterboo too, do you, mate?
I just like anyone who's willing to just play like it's the 90s.
Just eat glass, eat crayons, eat glass, run into a brick wall, do all the crazy shit.
Yeah. I
like
struggle with the new world.
Same sort of.
That definitely would have been my next pick.
Same sort of can do that Jackson Dart does, and you get that from Scatterboo. Also, to McMillan, I gave him a bit of crap in my wide receiver column, Tay. I don't know if you got to read that. I think probably when you saw that I was giving him...
You're a cokehead. You're a cokehead, mate.
So,
you're a cokehead.
But Tim McMillan goes to Harold. Harold's team now is Smith and Jigba and McMillan are his wide receivers in the first and fourth rounds, and sandwiched in the middle, he's got Chase Brown and Jeremiah Love. So I think there's a couple of really solid players in there, a couple of guys who you'd like to see try and outperform their ADPs there. So a little bit of upside in his first 4 rounds. Problem here is that there's some really nice guys, but I wonder what's going to happen with running back for me, because I've got 2 great wide receivers. I've got 1 running back, and then you start to get into that mid-tier of running back here where the guys who may be splitting roles, the guys who have had injury concerns, but gee, there's still some great wide receiver talent around. So if I was going to take a wide receiver, let's say I'm going to take a wide receiver, who do you think I would have circled here just looking at some of the guys who are left, mate? Because I feel like you might be able to sniff out my one target.
Well, my target I thought you would go for is someone from a team you already have a player from. So that's what makes me think it wouldn't be him.
That makes it tricky, right? So I've already got Puka, and you know how much I love Devontae Adams. So I picked Garrett Wilson right on the bell.
And, you got Auto.
Me, I think
you got Auto
last year, and I've given myself a lot of I think I've given myself a lot of risk by having him and Neighbours, because both of them missed a lot of time last year. But both of them have proven to me, when I've seen them on the field, they are clear number 1 wide receivers, and they lift the quarterback. It's not the other way around. You don't need the quarterback to make them good. They actually lift the quarterback. So thankfully, I got him in right at the bell there.
I think you got auto picked. I think you got auto picked him. It just still has you on auto.
Would have picked him anyway, so no worries.
No
worries. Anyway, so here we are with Tomo on the clock. He's got McCaffrey, AJ Brown, Chris Olave. Any reaction to the Wilson pick, though, guys?
What? Stable. I mean, it's just everything with New York is just quarterback, right? Like, it's just who's going to do something for us at some point in this century, and if that does happen, then Wilson's going to feed. So, I mean, Wilson's a great talent. You put Wilson, at Buffalo, he's Jamar Chase. So it's just a matter of what the quarterback there can do. But I mean, for a 4th, 5th rounder, I think he's great.
Yeah, I feel like at that spot, it starts getting into a few guys who have bigger question marks on him than that too, because I think we've seen Wilson do it, where some of the guys behind him we haven't. And the one that was behind him, we have seen him do it, and he continues to do it no matter how old he gets. I've already got a guy in that offense, so it limits my upside if I was going to do that. So to me, it wasn't really a decision. Luther Burden goes behind me here to Tomo. So he's got 3 receivers locked and loaded. AJ Brown, Chris Olave, Luther Burden. He's got Christian McCaffrey anchoring his running back room. And I feel like we're going to see some running backs go, because every team between 1 and 5 only has 1 running back in their holster. Tay's on the clock now with Derrick Henry, and then he's got Jamar Chase and Rashee Rice, his wide receivers. What are you doing here, Tay? What are you looking at?
So I think there's a massive drop off at running back here. Like I had 5 guys queued up there just because I wanted to make sure I wasn't tilting. Like I mentioned before, and they were all wide receivers. I just feel like there's the gulf in like talent at wide receiver here is massive compared to running back. And especially given we have 2 flexes, I'm just going to take my favorite wide receiver right now, and it's Devontae Adams.
Yeah. Love Devontae Adams.
I wanted him to come back to me, but I knew internally it was never happening.
I just like I said, I've got
I'm sick for him.
my top 4 right now in rankings are all wide receivers. So it's like it's just silly to even look at the running back position. Like it's just a bit of a. I know I said there wasn't technically a dead zone, but there kind of is because I think there are guys I like past what you would consider the dead zone as guys that I like better than the guys now. So when I said there wasn't a dead zone, that was probably wrong. I just think there's value super late, I guess, at running back. And I was just going to say, like the fact that there's 2, like if you're in a league with 2 flexes, don't be afraid to have an uneven draft. Like don't be afraid to just take the guy you like the most, whether it's whatever position, because you're going to need to fill 2 flexes. So if you think there's value in one position, wait, because you want the top end talent bulking up, even if it's in one position, because you're going to be able to flex 2 guys anyway.
Well, this is where it gets a bit of fun too, because we're about 20 running backs in and almost as many wide receivers too, as Cam Scatterboo goes to Big Pappy, who's got Bijan Robinson as well, as Nico Collins as his wide receiver, and has one of the top tight ends there with Trey McBride. To finish this round, Fozzie is on the clock now. He's got Jameer Gibbs, Drake May, Brock Bowers, and he goes to a 4th position and takes Terry McLaurin as his wide receiver 1.
He was on my list
that round. You sort of hope for a bounce back from him. He was sort of a non-factor last year, but we've seen him be a top 10 wide receiver before, and a healthy Jaden Daniels you'd like to think will help him, but it was a pretty inglorious year last year for Terry McLaurin, wouldn't you say, Jackson?
As a Jaden Daniels owner in about 4 of my fantasy leagues, it all sucked.
Nah, I knew you were pretty hot on him last year, so I knew you'd have an opinion, mate.
On Terry?
So with this team, he's got a player at all positions. It kind of leaves him now with a great freedom to just kind of take whoever he thinks is the best player at all, right? Like there is a bit of benefit to taking that approach.
I don't like that one.
Tell us what you think there. Lad McConkey is the next pick, so he's got double-barreled receivers. Not loving the lad.
I honestly think if you take Terry, you should take Jaden, because I really feel like they're both in for a massive bounce back. So I feel like they're going to pair well together. Like I said, I've got Jaden, my quarterback 2 or something this year. Like I am super high on his bounce back. I really just feel like last year was a complete throwaway, and I really do feel like that is for Terry. Terry came into the season, he didn't have a contract, he came in super late. I just think it was just the year from hell for Washington. So I'm in on those 2 specifically because there really isn't much else in the offense. Like their running back situation is just absolutely fucked. Like they're going to basically have to be a 2-man show on offense. I'll just say I'm not big on Ladd. I was so low on him last year, and I was actually probably one of my best calls. Like he was going at wide receiver 11 or something in drafts. Like I was off him last year. I felt like the end of his rookie year was a complete anomaly. I just felt like Keenan Allen coming in was going to take volume away. It did. Even though I like the Chargers' offense this year, I just don't think it gets funneled to Ladd like we saw at the end of his rookie season. So that's why I'm just not sure about him here. But if you want to take the shot on the Chargers just being an absolute juggernaut, that's fine. Egg Booker went right. Oh, shit. I didn't realize this.
Yeah, you got 5 seconds to pick, so I'll just quickly talk. Egbuka.
I don't know how to pause it either.
A bit of a volume vacuum. Come on. And he finds himself as probably one of the better targets there because we know exactly what Godwin's like. Tay, you got auto-picked, mate. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Why did the person right behind me pick it about 2 seconds later? I was trying to I didn't. Yeah, sorry, boys. I fucked that up. I hate Bucky. I think he's the worst pick in the draft. It's something I can say. Sorry,
I'll change what he does for the rest of the draft.
I honestly, I was talking so much about the picks that happened before me. I didn't even know that it was my pick. So, yeah, that's good to do on YouTube Live.
Yeah, you done messed up, Ron. You done messed up. So it gets tricky here. We're going to see, I think, now people taking their big upside swings, right? People who may have a little bit of a like for a guy more than the next player in their list. And this is, again, Tay, I think, where you've said this before. Go off your own draft board. You don't have to be led by ADP. You don't have to be led by what the app tells you they think are a really good pick. And I'm going to do that now by taking another running back. And I'm going to go and take my Jags boy, Bashal Tutin, who now finds himself with a considerable workload in a team who were pretty happy to use their running back and not the worst offensive line in the league either.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think he's massive value. Like Rodriguez coming, I thought was kind of interesting, but honestly, like if you were to take a look at it and go, "Oh, Rodriguez is my running back too," then that probably gives you more reason to like Tootin. Honestly, like he's not a household name. He did well last year at Washington, but I actually think Tootin to me is just coming up and up the board. So I really really like him. I think he's going to be good value.
I mean, I think that we've seen that ETN had been useful. He had 250 touches last year, so the void of work is there. So we'll see how that goes. Jaden Daniels went before me. Sorry, I need to back announce that one. So it's Christian McCaffrey, AJ Brown, Olave, Burden, and Jaden Daniels for Tomo. And my two running backs now, Williams and Tutin. Kyron Williams and Tutin. My three receivers are Wilson, Neighbours, and Nakua. Have a quick look at what Harold's doing here before we get teed up for Jackson. He's got Jackson Smith and Jigbar, Tetsuo and McMillan, and he goes and picks up old face, new place, Mike Evans. I really do like Mike Evans. I think they need a big-bodied receiver who can be good in the end zone there. They've lost quite a lot of experience in their wide receiving over time there at San Francisco, and I love that Mike Evans wound up there. Running backs of Brown and Love for Harold 99. How did you feel about Mike Evans going to San Francisco, Jackson? Do you think it's a good place for an end up?
Brilliant. He was one of the two receivers that I want in my next pick. For pure upside, I just think Brock Purdy is going to feed him. I think he's still a stud. He's big. He's strong. You know what I mean? Kittle never plays. So I think we're on with one there. And speaking of two of my picks, the two guys that I had both just went back to back. I like
because DJ Moore.
I do
he
like
winds up in Buffalo this year, and he's got Josh Allen. So it's probably not surprising that you end up with a guy who's got Josh Allen taking what you might think will end up the one receiver there just to stack it up. But mate, that's tough to watch both of them go right before you.
Look, it is annoying, and that's on me because I educated Jacob this week in one of his drafts to take DJ Moore, and he's come back and he's snaked me with it. So as a team who should have gone to the Super Bowl but got beaten due to some QB play there, I do think Jalen Waddle's going to come in, and I think he's going to be very stable for Bo Nix, so I'll comfortably put him as my wide receiver too.
Very interested to see where Jalen Waddle went. Tay, were you the same?
Yeah, he's interesting. I think what's going to happen with him is he might be the guy that actually helps Bo Nix the most. Like I think if Waddle hits, I think Bo Nix will hit for fantasy as well. Like it's just a funny team. I just can't trust Sean Payton like with anything. Like the only thing I can trust with Sean Payton is that he's going to do weird shit. So that's why with Denver, I normally take like lowly drafted guys like a J.K. Dobbins or something like that because I feel like there's a better chance he's going to do what everyone else thinks is not going to happen. So that's why I take late shots on Denver because like the guys that everyone thinks are going to be like high end just don't work out that way. And I still don't think like Cortland Sutton's just going away. Like I still think he's a prominent enough part of the offense. Waddle to me is just an offense mover, and it just worries me that that's not going to be consistent in like fantasy. So he's not one that I'm like super high on and drafting everywhere, but I get the like people being high on him because I think he can really help that offense.
I think his speed is just the biggest thing, right? Denver are very safe and boring, and they just do the systematic things.
Super boring.
What they lacked is just having a guy that can break open and do that sort of Jameson Williams thing that, in Detroit. So I'm sort of backing him in for that.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that. And I think he will be a volume receiver. I think close to the line of scrimmage, he's got good hands. We know that about Jalen Waddle. So you've got Lamb and Waddle as your receivers, Achane, Breece Hall, and Travis Etienne Jr. as the running backs, looking pretty solid. Guys to go after you. Skittles goes and picks up Tay's boy, Tony Pollard. We think he could be up for a good year this year. And then your other boy, Carnell Tate, goes immediately after the Picklekins. So He's got Drakeland and Tate as his two receivers. I don't mind the idea of Tate as a wide receiver two this late. I prefer him as 3, but if you're going to get him as 2 this late, I don't mind that. And then Travion Henderson as a third running back for Captain Spenpa. And to wrap it up at the end of the round, Rome Odunze, who I'm not completely sold isn't still the number 1 receiver at Chicago, going a full round later to wrap up the round. We'll see how that one pans out. But he's got Odunze as his third behind Pickens and Jefferson before taking Joe Burrow, the 6th quarterback, off the board to kick off the 6th round. So we see Captain Spenpar back on the clock now. His 2 receivers are Flowers and Higgins to go with the 3 Packer running backs, Cook, Barkley, and Henderson. He moves
I'm
to tight end. Takes
so
the 4th
happy
one.
he did that.
Tyler Warren. Oh, Jackson, tell us what's going on. Why do you like this?
Well, I'll explain in 3 picks, but we all know who holds the keys to my heart in that particular position. And if Warren was still there, I would have had to have taken Warren just out of the pure principle that he's just so much better. But now Warren's gone, I can just detach the emotion, get my guy. I love him to bits. He's our best player in that position. I mean, I think he's our best receiver in general. And now I don't have to feel guilty about leaving Warren on the board. So I'm hoping he gets to me. Skittles knows who I go for, and you'll know this player, but Skittles won't take him because Skittles doesn't need him. So we'll just wait and see how it pans out. Unless Picky wants to be a bit of a twat, I should land my boy.
The benefit of knowing your draft combatants, is that sort of the edge you've got here, Jackson?
Oh, I saw red. I was nervous for a second. All right.
Okay, Pickle Kids has taken 2 quarterbacks, by the way.
So he's got Jackson.
Jesus is king is inspiring.
That's it. It's catching on.
Can I just say
7 quarterbacks gone, but 2 teams have got 2 each.
I would have taken Tyler Warren in the 5th round instead of Bucky Irving. I honestly think he ends it. I think he completely ends a tier at tight end, and now that he's gone, I am waiting forever. I will try and go this entire draft without drafting one.
Right. Well, out of principle, my boy is before the injury, mate. He was better than a wide receiver around.
Yep.
Lock him in, put him away, send it home.
Tucker Kraft was number 2 in points per game for tight end last year, behind only Trey McBride, and tied with George Kittle because they both had injury interrupted years, but just their work rate when they're on the field, their target share, touchdowns, their efficiency with catching targets was so good, but just hampered. He only played 8 games last year, Tucker Kraft, and I think that
with our receiving core,
Green Bay season.
You can give him a bit more attention than say Laporta, right? Laporta's got genuine receivers ahead of him, right? We just traded Romeo Dubs. So Christian Watson, it's not like he's a bona fide wide receiver 1. So I think Kraft is just our safety blanket, and he's a bit of a sleeper play. Yeah,
and while his volume last year not super high in terms of just targets over the year, he was good at catching them. He's now got less competition. And he's definitely a big part of that red zone offense. So I feel like there's a lot of reasons to be confident in him. It's just whether you can overlook that his volume just wasn't super high last year. But I like the pick because I've got optimism. We see a second wide receiver here go for Jesus is King next. He gets DJ Moore last round. He comes back and gets Jameson Williams. So he's a pretty big upside shot. But do you mind taking this in the 6th round, Tay? I mean, gee, that seems pretty good in the 12-team draft to be getting Jameson so late.
I don't mind it. I was obviously super high on him coming into last year. I just think it gets funneled a bit more. Like, obviously, Amon-Ra is going to take a huge chunk, and obviously Gibbs as well. But in a high-powered offense like this, which they're going to be in a dome, and their defense, even though it's going to get healthier, they're still going to be in high-scoring games. So Jamo is just going to always be an opportunity to have a big game. I always like Jamo more in best ball because, to me, like, he's just got such a high ceiling that makes him finish well at the end of the year, but sometimes it's not super consistent. So I don't mind it. Like, I would rather him probably as my, like, wide receiver 3, because obviously it's like it's really high upside, low floor kind of stuff. But look, in the end, I'm fine with him in the 6th. It's not a bad spot.
Could get you 3, could get you 23. Like, it's just not a lot of middle. He's a bit of a fantasy yo-yo. So as a 2, I think that's challenging, but he's gone ahead and taken 2 quarterbacks and then 2 running backs in the first 4 rounds. So he's kind of left himself a bit light on some options there. But Harold, late in his pick clock, goes and takes DeAndre Swift at Chicago, who I think was probably one of the better running backs still left in terms of opportunity.
Definitely top
there is one other. It's definitely one other. I think, Tay, you're going to be a bit upset I'll take in front of you, but because I'm going to take a running back here knowing I've got some depth to wide receiver, and that, like you, I wasn't early on tight end, so I'm probably going to be really late. And I don't mind being late on a quarterback either, so I'm probably just going to fill my boots with some wide receivers and running backs here. The probably unsurprising thing here is that you and I have always been big on Chuba Hubbard, and I don't think there's ever been a bigger person on Chuba Hubbard than you, Tay. So I'm going to go and just scoop him up because I still believe he's going to have the volume, and we see that Dowdle's out of town. There's really sort of no... we just haven't seen a lot out of Brooks, and I just feel like even then they might be tentative about working him up. So I'm going to go and take Hubbard. If he gets some good work early, maybe I can turn him into something different later on in the season. Then he just kind of feels like a pretty good play here, considering we're now picking a guy outside the top 25 at running back.
I'm considering the biggest. I'm next after this. I'm actually watching this fucking time, and I'm almost certain that the person I'm looking at is not going to get picked because he is so far down in ADP. But I kind of want to almost pick him purely just to like showcase how ridiculous his ADP on Sleeper is right now. Like I really feel like if I played the game, he would probably come back. So I don't know if the guys would be thinking about him right now. But to me, he is the best option by a mile, especially according to my rankings at this position. Wide receiver's a bit funny. Like, I feel like there's a lot of guys kind of around the same situation. Quarterback, I'm like you, Matty C. There's definitely someone on the turn I might look at if he gets around to me. I'm just going to take my absolute shot. This might be a super surprise to everyone, but I'm taking Jadarian Price.
I thought that might be who you were talking about, Tay. I was looking down the list of guys who were sort of next, and I'm like, just in terms of how we ranked, I don't know that there's anyone else that would fit this bill.
Put it this way, I have him ranked ahead of Bucky, who I got given at 503. And, like, look, to be honest, like, honestly, Bucky could have a fine season. It's not. I'm just saying where his value and stuff is, and I'm just a little bit concerned about what I saw last year. I'm worried he's got Damian Pierce vibes about a 4th-round running back that's all of a sudden turned into a pumpkin. But, look, he could be fine. But Jadarian Price, I just think he's so undervalued. So I just wanted to bring him up as some guy that's in Sleeper at the moment that's truly undervalued.
Yeah, I think we've seen what that role kind of looks like, thanks to the Kenneth Walker experience, and that we know Charbonnet is unlikely to be ready to go early, so we think Price will probably see the field pretty early on. We've sort of talked about that in some of the prior conversations. David
very interested to see
goes
if
immediately
Fozzie
after.
Fades running back here.
Yeah, now this would be interesting, right? Because he's only got Jameer Gibbs in his running back core, and we've seen RJ Harvey, Jadarian Price, and then David Montgomery go bang, bang, bang. So there's a lot of pressure now for Fozzie to make a move.
I hope he's listening. If he doesn't take it, I don't think there'd be a starter coming back for him. So I'm super curious.
I'm waiting with bated breath here because his wide receivers are McConkey and McLaurin. So he's got the Max. He's got Bowers and May. So he's got guys who we think could be finishing 1 at both quarterback and tight end, which I think if you're going to take those swings in the 2nd and 3rd round, you have to be thinking that they're going to finish 1 at their position. And Jameer Gibbs, who was the number 1 overall pick. So, like, he's playing this game of thinking he's going to have the number 1 player in 3 different positions for those picks to come off. But what do you do later on? Firstly, he dodges a 2nd running back by taking Mekhi Lemon as a 3rd wide receiver. At the end of the 6th round, don't mind that. I think it's you're in the sort of range now where if he does end up delivering numbers kind of like what Devontae Smith has, then you're essentially getting a 4th round return on a guy who you picked right, into the end of 6th, start of the 7th. So I don't mind that. But this next pick will be interesting. Reaction?
He's taking his time per pick, right? So he's obviously.
I don't like it.
Not happy with the running backs.
Mekhi Lemon is, to me, a wasted pick in redraft. I don't want to be so blunt. I just think, I have problems with Devontae, wanting to rank Devontae Smith, who is the clear 1, super, super duper high, because I just don't trust the Eagles' passing offense. I still don't think they look at last year and go, oh, we're going to change everything. Like, Jalen Hurts just isn't a guy that's going to ever average 250 odd passing yards. It's just not the way they're built. So I just think, like, where is it going to come from? Like, there's going to be an amount to Devontae Smith. There's going to be an amount probably to the tight end position. They just drafted in the tight end position, and they have Dallas Goedert. I don't know. I just don't know what's left for Mekhi Lemon in year one. Like, he's a rookie to start with, so I think there's going to be growing pains. I just don't like I don't like him in a redraft at all.
Yeah, maybe. But if it switches around where Smith doesn't grow in his role and Mekhi Lemon is AJ Brown, then it's not a bad pick. But it's gosh, you've always got to make sure in that situation, if you are taking the second guy, that they perform as well as the first. The running back does go here for Fozzie. Took a bit of time to think about it. Come around to Aaron Jones from Minnesota, who last year just had a rough year, wasn't on the field all the time, not super efficient, which is why he's a 7th round pick now in a 12-team league. Thoughts, fellas?
No, it's not like he was picking between anything outstanding there, was he? I probably would have lent, I don't know, Warren, or you could take a chance on Krosky Merritt maybe if he wins the starting gig, but yeah, I don't know.
I don't hate it just because I think the Vikings are due for a bounce back. So if he's the running back one on the team and this offense is just better, I don't mind him in the 7th. It's not a guy that I'm like, put it this way, I don't think anyone in the draft's like, fuck, I missed out. So yeah, I don't mind it as his running back too, but you're probably going to be holding your testicles the entire time. So I'm gonna go a little bit different. The guy that I have ranked super high in a onesie position, I think, is the time. I just don't love the running backs or wide receivers here. I think there are guys I like later. I'm gonna just take my shot. I'm gonna take Caleb. I think he's a perennial top 5 guy for me in the rankings. I think he's in for a massive year. Their defense didn't really get any better, but I think year 2 of Ben Johnson. I've talked about it on the pod already this year. I think I'm really, really high on him. And the fact that I know some guys have taken 2 fucking quarterbacks, but what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th quarterback. I'm fine with it.
Yeah. And I think, the great chance for him to outproduce his draft position as 8th, because he does have the rushing. He does hurl that ball. And we saw him through the back end of last season, really just, open the shoulders and toss it around and really play kind of his kind of ball, a bit more instinctive. And he had just the greatest thing that you could hope for with that new coaching is he got the support of the offensive line, gave him time to make decisions, gave him time to extend plays, gave him time to use his legs. So all things that we love for fantasy. Prior to him, Christian Watson goes to Big Pappy. That's his 3rd receiver. He has 3 running backs as well. And Trey McBride. So looking quite balanced. Tomo's on the clock now before my pick. Tay, I wrote a column a couple of weeks ago about wide receivers, and there was a guy I mentioned that I reckon if he comes to me here, and I can't imagine why he wouldn't, that I would pick. And as soon as I say that, he goes, I was looking pretty hard at DK Metcalf, and I'm not going to back away from that. I think he's going outside the top 30 at wide receiver right now. He had 900 yards last year. He was a bit depressed, but I don't know that Michael Pittman's going to take a whole lot away from DK Metcalf, and I'm happy to accept it was a down year. It seems crazy to me that he's outside the top 30.
I think you and I are going to be a little bit opposed on this. I had more of a think after you and I spoke last time, and I actually think the way Pittman plays is going to be more suited to Rodgers. I just think Rodgers' depth of target is just so low that I think more of a sort of volume receiver like Pittman is going to work better with him than DK's like long ball. So yeah, I think I'm like almost ready to water bet you Pittman versus Metcalf. I know it's crazy because of ADP, but I'm actually not really high on DK anymore.
Fair enough. Okay, this is maybe we've got a few guys. We've got circle.
And he's in the 7th.
Let's whack a circle on this one.
Yeah, and look, he's in the 7th, so I'm not alone. I'm not alone. It's not like I'm talking about a 2nd round wide receiver. I think you just like the value, and I see the reasons why other people are low on him.
Well, I'm going to do something unsurprising. Is that Cortland Sutton has always had a piece of my heart. He still does, even with Jackson. I'm looking at you, having Mortal in your team.
All I can hear is that dog.
1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns. He's been 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns. I know that having another good option in that offense could be a detraction. It could also be the distraction that you need to make sure Sutton gets the ball. I'm pretty happy to take Sutton in the 7th round as my 4th wide receiver. Pretty happy with that. And then Justin Herbert, Taylor's former husband, goes immediately after me to Harold, who's very balanced. 3 wide receivers, 3 running backs, and a quarterback. Jesus King goes and takes Sam Laporta as his tight end. Brings Jackson up. And what decisions have you got to make here, my brother?
I think I'm actually going to back in a bit of a bounce back season for a guy who I think is quite talented. Not that his quarterback situation vastly improved, but I think Kyler Murray is a waste of space. So let's give up my boy M. Harrison in that flex. I like the talent, and I want to see him have a chance. Look, I do think Arizona will be the worst or second worst team in football, but I think Marvin's going to get he needs to bounce back.
It's amazing how far he's fallen, because in previous 2 years, he's been in that sort of top 15 conversation straight away. In his rookie year, I think he was going the top 5 wide receiver. So he's fallen a fair way. But at this point, I mean, this is the 7th round of a 12-team draft. I don't know what you got to do to not pay that back at this stage, Marvin Harrison. Travis Kelce goes immediately after as well. And that's the, what have we got there? That's the 6th tight end. 7th tight end. And he goes to Skittles, who's got 3 running backs, 3 wide receivers. So very balanced. He goes and picks up his tight end and puts Picklekins on. Tay, just those couple of picks there, Laporta, Harrison, Kelce. Do you have any dimes on those ones?
It's kind of exactly why I'm waiting on tight end. I just look at these guys and I just don't think they're... Look, Laporta to me still has that like ceiling of maybe going back to what he was like 2 or 3 years ago, but I still think of Ben Johnson gone. I don't know if those days are there. There's so many more mouths to feed in the Lions than there probably was then. I don't see the upside for him. And Kelce, to me, he's not a year younger. He's a year older and another foot out the door. So I still believe at the Chiefs that they're just funneling everything to Rice and Walker. So I'm happy that I'm waiting on tight end, because these are the guys I try and avoid in this like middle tier of tight end. But Marv, I think that's a fine pick by Jackson, because why not take a shot? Like honestly, I don't mind Michael Wilson 2 picks after him, because it's like, what if Jacoby Brissett's there? They're going to be shit. They're going to be behind throwing. There's going to be ridiculous amount of pass attempts. Their defense sucks. Like, there's going to be an opportunity again for both of them. So why not take a shot in this round?
Yeah, and I think that probably speaks a bit to how far things have gone in Arizona, that Michael Wilson, who wound up being an excellent wide receiver last year, and some of it in Marvin Harrison's absence, but also some of it just he got the eye of Jacoby Brissett, but that he and Harrison have been picked one after each other at the moment at wide receiver is pretty amazing. Jacoby Myers goes next as we get close to the end of this round, and Harold Fannin is the 8th tight end to go, and he goes to a team that it was fairly well balanced side as well. 3 wide receivers, 2 running backs, a quarterback, and a tight end. So the decisions now, we're going to see teams start to do a bit of gap filling, I think, where they've got the balance of having tight ends or quarterbacks or both to try and get the depths of their stock for wide receiver and running back on. So you and I pretty classically kept away from tight end. So it'll be interesting to see when you make your move. I know you and I kind of almost play this game of who can blink last on that one. And I'm pretty comfortable waiting on a quarterback. But so, Jackson, you're pretty comfortable waiting on a quarterback. Look, you go coming to the 8th round.
No, to be honest, this is the first 1 QB. I mean, I know it's only a mock, but every, the 16 leagues I mentioned I'm in, they're all super flexes. So I'm so used to QBs falling in round 1, and then a massive QB fall happening in 2, 3. So normally a bit of panic sets in where you're sort of forced to take one of those early, and now you're sort of sitting back here going, do I take Sam Darnold in the 14th round as my super flex? And this is a bit more relaxing, this one, knowing there's some. I've got my eye on a guy. I've got a backup, but I'm torn on 2. I am going quarterback this round. I'm just going to lock it away, put that starting team to bed, and make sure we're strong, and then work out the depth from there. But
I think there's a massive value at quarterback still there.
Massive, heaps. But, if we're going to the public and I want them to vote, who's going to win the Super Bowl of this league, I've got to make that starting team look sexy.
Oh, but that's what I'm saying, though. I've got no problem with you taking a quarterback here because I
thought you meant like deep. Sorry, yeah.
No. Like, I mean, I just, there's someone I sort of had ranked not far away from the one that I picked. That I was like, look, if I was to wait, I would maybe wait on him. But then I was kind of like, well, I've got a long wait. There's no guarantee either of them made it to me anyway. So yeah, I just decided to take the guy out of the top 5.
All right. Well,
Yeah, I still
Jared
think
took
there's
one
3
of the
quarterbacks
two
I'll be
I
happy
was
to one
looking
up
at.
with.
Jared took one. I was open to that Dak and CD Lamb stack.
Yeah,
I was pretty fond
nice.
on that.
Yeah.
But I'm equally as open to Prince. So
That's
we'll
the
look
good.
at-
Hey,
That's the one.
the prince who was promised. Love that bloke.
I'm
going to grow my hair out to match him, I think.
just
Prescott and
saying.
Lawrence, they were 2 of the 3 that I really would be quite happy to have had. So now it kind of leaves one guy in this region who I'm still pretty happy to have, and then I'm probably sifting through the half-price Bay Marie at the end of the day in the food court to get my quarterback. So I've probably got to make a discerning choice in a little minute.
Lawrence and Caleb are my 2 favorite quarterbacks this year. I'm just letting you know right now, like when we do, I like to do a rundown of my teams in all my leagues and like what shares I have in quarterbacks. I'm certain that those 2 are going to be very prominent in my teams this year, especially in like 1 quarterback leagues, because I just think they're going to be such value. And like I was very happy to get Caleb in the 7th, but Trevor in the 8th is just ridiculous value. I know it's a 1 quarterback league and you can get super value if you wait even longer, but I just think those 2 are a massive chance of both being in the top 5.
Yeah, I mean, definitely both have those ingredients you want, that they've got high passing volume and they don't mind doing it with their legs. Trevor's really shown he's not scared to just truck it in the end zone when he's close. And most leagues, you get 150% return when your quarterback runs it in instead of passes it in. So we love seeing that. Jalen Warren goes next, and then Harold's on the clock before my next pick. And, mate, I still think there's 1 or 2 quarterbacks in this range who are all right. I don't know that I'm going to have a swing now because I know, behind me, there's only one guy who is still looking for a quarterback. So I kind of don't mind waiting one more go and just having another sift through some of these other positions. So at the moment, I've got 4 wide receivers and 3 running backs. And the running backs here all start getting a little fun as well. Because you're in the spot now where you just, I guess, kind of hoping that you can pick up a guy who either just winds up with a better volume share than a lot of people think they're going to, or just kind of benefits from an injury potentially. And mate, there's a couple of them around. I see George Kittle goes right before me today. Last year you were the hottest man on earth for George Kittle. How do you feel this year, mate?
Yeah, look, I'm concerned. Like he gets injured all the time as it is, but he comes in with an injury concern this year, which is like an extra worry because like even when he comes in healthy, you've got to factor like that he's going to miss like 5 games a year. He's so good when he's at his peak. Like I absolutely love the guy. Like I was so hot for him because I just felt like everything was going to get funneled to him and CMC. And to be honest, with his actual tight end finish per game, I was right. But yeah, this year I've just got my slight concern about. I think Mike Evans and CMC might be able to take a bit more of the mantle and let like Kittle take a little bit of time to get right. So that just worries me about. I don't like taking guys that have to work into the season and redraft. I'd rather take like a guy like Jadarian Price at the running back position, who I think is going to hit the ground running, and then maybe he loses snaps later. I'd rather work it out then instead of doing the opposite.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I think you've. I'm going to try and approach it with the right amount of optimism, but realism. Tell you, I've done something that you probably won't also find surprising. With over 100 targets last year, I still think Kyle Pitts is worthwhile. I know there are support groups of people who've been Kyle Pitts owners over time, and there's a lot of crying on each other's shoulders collectively. He did score quite a lot of his points in just 1 game last year as well, but mate, if he's getting the targets over the course of the year, it gives me some confidence, and I feel like that quarterback situation will clear up a little bit there. So I'm pretty happy taking Kyle Pitts about the 10th tight end off the board. And then Kyle Monongai goes immediately after me to Tomo, which puts you on the clock.
Yes. I'm sort of pretty even now with my setup. It's like 3 running backs, 3 wide receivers, a quarterback. Like, so I'm really set up to go just anywhere that I think is a bit of value. Running back's a bit funny. There's some guys again that I think I could probably take on the turn. It's all kind of just shots at guys that you think hopefully could be the one, or guys that are probably going to be the two that you think have upside later. I don't know. I've weirdly, this is a guy that I have not brought up with you once, Matty C. So I think it's actually going to be a surprise. I'm just gaining trust in him because the team showed him so much love. They lost their quote unquote wide receiver one. It's really just him and their tight end. Yes, there's super questions about the actual quarterback position, but I think the fact that they paid this guy so much money, I think they're not only going to use him in deep routes, I think they're going to get him involved more. So I'm going to take Alec Pierce.
Yeah.
He's
still there and Pittman's gone.
And I in this team build, I don't have to start him. I've already got my two flexes. I'm fine taking a shot on him here just to see how it works with what the offense looks like. And like I said, he got the bag of money. I just really don't see if they'd paid him that much, they're not going to start using him like in more volume style. So yeah, I'm interested because he's got the ceiling. We all know that. I'm just hoping he can turn more into a volume hunter.
Yeah. 100%. I see PJ Washington goes next. He was my super sleeper. Yep. I was going to try and take next round because he'd be my fifth wide receiver, and then having Tootin wouldn't make much of a difference. But there you go. I love PJ Washington. It wouldn't surprise me if he ends up their top receiver this year again. Love that bloke. Hey, Jackson, you've been a bit quiet there, mate. Give us a few reflections for the rest of this round, mate.
Oh, I'm just reading. With the dog. Yeah, just reading on a few players, and sort of I'm a bit of a sleeper guy myself. I enjoy taking stabs, particularly at this point of the draft here. Just those guys that have that. He would have been one of my guys. I like Jacory. I think he holds immense upside. If they can just unlock him a little bit, I think he'd be amazing. So that's a great pick there. Parker Washington, Alec Pierce. I just think are both, like you guys said it right there. I don't think there's going to be stability. I think there's still question marks, but I think because they got paid and they're the main guys there, they got the opportunity to prove it. Whether they can or not, a bit of a different story. But at this point in the draft, I think there's not many guys ahead of them. A couple of sleepers that I don't mind the look of, but
can I just say about Washington? Like, he's one of the reasons why I love Lawrence this year. It's not so much that I think specifically Jacoby Myers, Washington, BTJ. Like, I don't think specifically any of those guys are like guys I'm looking at going, I think they're going to be amazing because of Lawrence. I just think because Lawrence has all of those guys combined, that's why I love Lawrence, because it's like that you don't have to pick and choose when you take Lawrence in the draft. You just can have all of them. So, yeah, that's the reason why I really, really like Lawrence in the draft, because he's just got like an embarrassment of riches to pass to this year.
It's definitely a different world, isn't it? Like,
yep.
It's, apples to oranges. Mate, you're on the clock now too, which gives us an opportunity to get inside your depraved mind. What's going on?
Yeah, like I said, I've always got guys in my queue. Obviously, Bucky earlier wasn't one of those, but I won't keep bringing that up.
It's just like your queue was more like a Z.
Look, in the end, like, the build's fine. Like, even with Bucky in there, like I'm not too disappointed in the actual team. Tight end still, I'm more than happy to wait. I've got some shots in my queue that I'm happy for later. I think I'm just going to take a shot on this guy because everywhere he fucking goes, he just seems to take over the role, and he's good in the passing game, but he also just gets a lot of volume. I'm just going to take Rico Dowdle. And because, I don't have to start him. He's on my bench. I just think that's the perfect spot to him because I can wait out and see what the splits look like between him and Jalen Warren.
I mean, a sly wide running back 4. You should only see your starting lineup in times of desperation. Chris Godwin goes next, and then I pop up, and I've got a decision to make here. Because, I've given myself plenty of wide receivers here. I've got some running backs. I'm probably still a little light on running backs, and I'm pretty happy to sit out the really, really happy to sit out the quarterback for a little bit longer. And I think at this stage too, your running back does start to really get a bit ugly. You look down this list of guys who are left, and it's pretty bare. I'm just going to bring it up on the screen of just what that queue looks like. It's behind Ramondre, Blake Corum, Brian Robinson, Tyler Algier. Like, none of these guys are really striking a lot of excitement. I think probably the one who gets the most opportunity out of that is Ramondre, and he's kind of got the most interest to me. And I'm not really looking at quarterback yet, but the guys who are still in this queue here, and I don't know that I like any of these top few at the price of Mahomes, because I just don't know what he's going to look like. And you know, kind of famously, Purdy and Stafford just don't get it done with the legs, so I just don't think they're excellent value. So that's what's going to lead me to take Ramondre. I'm not going to overthink it too much. I've probably got one later running back who I'd take that can help pad me out to a fifth running back, but Ramondre will probably end up just having those weeks where he's useful, or if something happens to our Mount Travion, then he may also just jump in value all of a sudden from a 9th round pick to someone you can start. And it brings Harold onto the clock, and then Jesus is king before we see Jackson back on. And mate, I'm just going to have a quick look down your team, right? We've got CD Lamb, Devon Achane, Brees Hall, Travis Etienne. Then all of a sudden, running backs on the shelf, mate. You've got Jalen Waddle, Tucker Kraft, Marvin Harrison Jr., Trevor Lawrence. How are you feeling about your build so far?
I mean, Instagram, I can already see the Instagram comments giving me the trophy. It's impossible to beat.
He's feeling just modest, I see.
Absolutely stacked. I'm going to take a few gambles on these picks, though, so we'll enjoy this show now.
Looking forward to where this goes now, because we've seen Huge go right behind me, and I actually kind of like for his cost. I know he can be very streaky, but if you're getting him in the 9th round, I kind of feel like that's about what you want, is a guy who can just throw up a huge score or not necessarily cause a heap of trouble. He's certainly not going to be super consistent. But then Michael Pittman finally goes to pick after, who is
discount Metcalf.
The opposite.
Discount Metcalf.
Yeah, he's the cheaper Metcalf, mate. And 2 rounds cheaper, which I think goes to show people's confidence in the Pittsburgh passing game. Here we go, mate. Let's extend the title run for you, Jackson. Who are you going to add to this team that's championship team?
Well, I'm just going to give a shout out to, let me find his name so I can give him a proper shout out so he deserves it. Where am I going? Who took him? How far back? Jeez, I can't even see. How far up did this guy go? Oh, there we go. Shout out to Big Puppy for taking Green Bay's number 2 receiver in the 7th round and leaving Green Bay's number 1 receiver for me right now. Give me the upside.
He's on my list as well.
Little sneaky.
So tell us what you like about him here, Jackson. This is a fellow who was out of lineup a bit last year and was a bit streaky when he was in.
I just think he's healthier. Watson seems to be Jordan Love's, let's throw 80 meters down the field and you can catch it type of guy, but that doesn't happen very often. I think Reed's stable, Reed's safe. If Reed's healthy, he plays a bit of a Tucker Kraft role. These receivers aren't necessarily the problem. It's Jordan Love is the problem. As a Packer diehard, it's frustrating to have to say that, but I think he's the problem with his confidence spikes. But I just think Jalen Reed has the potential. I think he's the most talented receiver we've got. I think Tucker Kraft is the best we've got to throw to. But in terms of wide receivers, I think Jalen Reed is just more of an upside play. I think more of a stable play. Sorry, I think Watson's definitely an upside guy.
There you go. Now we've got this great streak of wide receivers. Huge, Pittman, your man Reed, and then Josh Downs and Romeo Dubs. I'll face in a new place that New England goes in the 10th pick of the 9th round. And now we've got Captain Spencer back on the clock, getting close to wrapping up the 9th round. And I think, I quite like Jaden Reed, and I found at different times last year, people had just dumped him onto waiver wires, and I was fine. I was just picking him up because what if he comes back and he looks great, and just it didn't quite work out like that. But I've always kind of had a bit of confidence in him. There was one year I didn't, and Tay, I think you and I had a water bet on that. 2 different Packers receivers weren't going to finish over 30 or something like that. And at one point, Jaden Reed was like wide receiver 4. So he just scored so many points, he was never going to be out of the top 30. And it taught me a lesson. It just taught me a lesson.
He was wide receiver 1 in week 1, I think. It was the Brazil game. He just absolutely dominated just because he was he didn't have like a 60-yard rushing touchdown or something. He had something insane in that Brazil game. So I don't think I've ever seen a water bet end quicker.
That was a year-long water bet, and by about week 6, I just knew it was over.
Over.
There was actually, I think he had enough points that he was going to finish in the top 30 by week 6 anyway. Ate the humble pie, which I hate doing. So I hate doing that. My ego is just insatiable.
Nothing humble about that pie, I can tell you that.
Right. Yeah, no, it was a mouthful. Xavier Worthy and then Blake Coram go to wrap up the round. And then we kick off with Travis Hunter, who I think...
Ravi's going to get moved to the defense, mate.
Yeah, I just kind of think he's still a bit underrated. I know there's too many mouths to feed. If you have him, Parker Washington, Brian...
DCJ, yeah.
Blanking for a second there, but Brian Thomas and then also Parker Washington. I realise 4 is too many. There's just not enough volume in that offense to feed all of them. But I just kind of think that Travis Hunter will still be quite relevant. And he was really sort of showing he picked up the speed of the NFL offense and how to work against experienced corners before he got hurt in that game, before the Kansas City game. And they were missing him for the rest of the season after that. So I think it was over in London. I think he'd done that.
Yeah. And he had a massive game.
The big game, but the big injury, and we never saw him again. So I've just kind of got a bit of hope for him, considering that he's in the range of wide receiver 50. You're not burning too many things to go and pick him up. Patrick Mahomes,
old CPT,
how is he going?
He's doing a Jackson
all the
move
way
now.
down here in the 10th round, as a backup to Baker Mayfield too, which is kind of amazing. And it brings Pickle back on the clock. Skittles before we get Jackson again. Mate, where are you looking on your board now, just knowing that you've got a couple of picks in the lead up? You've got your quarterback.
I'm going straight quarterback.
You had a running back since the 4th round, but you've done a great job building a strength in your wide receiver core and a tight end that you love.
Yeah, we built the running backs early for this exact reason, right? Because toward the back end, last 2 picks, I'll just simply go and take some handcuffs to my guys, just as pure cover. Injuries happen, then I'm obviously taking the RB1 of that team. There's a few in there that I do like that aren't going to go anytime soon. But if we're playing a real draft here, we'd be absolutely locking down another quarterback. As we speak right now, I was keen on Mahomes, but I have one guy ahead of him and one guy right below him. So depending on what Skittles does here, I'm pretty content either way with one of these quarterbacks.
Ooh, okay.
It's interesting.
Comfortable taking a second one? Just give yourself a bit of cover, Trev?
Yeah, well, it's trade value. It's injury cover. I'm a big Nick Knicks fan, but safety will prevail in this one. Just give me the boring guy.
Oh, I love to hear Matty, here's 10 minutes. I'd love to hear your thoughts on Brock Purdy.
I just feel like they kept the wrong guy. Why'd they let Mac Jones go?
Yeah,
he was winning at the start of anyway.
The floor is yours, mate.
My only problem with him is in fantasy, he just doesn't get it done with his legs. This is my problem with Brock Purdy. And that his wide receiver core was such a disaster last year. It wouldn't have mattered how good he was. He just didn't have the horses, and he's not getting it done with his legs. So this year is going to have to be different for him to redeem himself.
Mike Evans changes it all.
And I think it could. I absolutely think it could, Jacko. So I don't mind the pick, but it's going to take somebody else to have him and see that success. It's not going to be me. Stephon Diggs, who's teamless at the moment, is gone.
He's unemployed.
Practically on an auto pick, is it? And then Bo Nix goes as a second quarterback. And mate, I would have happily taken Bo Nix right here because I've got Cortland Sutton and it would have been a neat little stack. I don't really care for the quarterback of any of the other wide receivers I've got, except for maybe Stafford, but he doesn't get it done with his legs. You really do rely on him having another MVP caliber season to return anything like what he did last year. I'm not expecting to get a quarterback 3 in fantasy if I'm taking Stafford here, like he wound up last year anyway. But, mate, I'm going to stick with a wide receiver again before having a look at quarterback next time round. Because I just think there's so much great depth of wide receiver here. I think when it's not Mike Evans, it's going to be Ricky Pearsall. And it's not because, he's some amazing wide receiver. I really don't think he's an amazing wide receiver. He is just the second guy in an offense that's probably going to have to chuck it because the days of San Francisco being defense are over. OVA, over.
What's between you and Big Paps? Who wants to come and take the best quarterback on the board in Big Jordan Love?
Mate, I did that last year. I've learnt my lesson. My fingers were heartily burned. Look, see, no fingerprints. Look, none. I can commit any crime I want now.
I'd mark Andrews as a late tight end pick. That was interesting that he went there. I mean, I've got heaps of them. I'm not worried that he went there, but I do think he represents a bit of value with likely leaving. And like I said, I think there's a bounce back with Lamar. I don't think he gets back to what he was 2 years ago with passing touchdowns, but I think there's a reason to believe that Mark Andrews could be somewhat what he used to be. So I don't mind him as a late tight end option.
SuperCoach Classic, we think he's okay too, yeah?
Yeah, 100%, because he's coming off a complete bust of a year. So I had him in my little article thing, a little post as the third sort of value tight end of the year. So, yeah, look, I'm looking at an absolute pit of arseholes and I'm getting shit flung at me at the moment. Like, this is just, this is absolutely the great part of the draft that we absolutely love. And honestly, it's at the point where you just throw ADP out the window and you just take shots on the guys that you think might be value. So, yeah, look, I'm gonna go for a wide receiver here that I've just always loved. I took him in a lot of dynasty drafts, and the fact that they're wide receiver one left, I'm gonna take a shot on Jalen McMillan.
Yeah, and why not? We've both really liked him in dynasty for a couple of seasons now, Tay, and it's kind of like a few things have finally happened for him to clear a bit of space for him to get consistent field time in a way that he really hadn't, unless it'd been injuries. So it's kind of his real chance to show us.
I still think Egbuka's the one, but I just think, like you said, I think space is cleared for him. I know Goldman's still there, but like again, he come off that injury. I just think there's a chance that McMillan comes in and he's a bit of a volume receiver.
I can hear Jackson's dog is so bored for listening to you talk about that.
Mate, they are living it up.
Hates our podcast. Your dog, not a follower.
You're just collecting your Tampa Bay players with your Bucky Irving love earlier. Now you're Jalen McMillan, and then Kenneth Gainwell goes to pick after that. So it's coming up Buccaneers, Tay.
Oh, mate. Love him. At least this one was actually a pick that I meant to make.
Yeah, 100%. The Tampa Bay, that offense kind of it didn't look the same by the end of last year, so I can see why people are a bit depressed on that. See Brian Robinson, who's made his way back east again to play in Atlanta, goes to finish that round, and Fozzie now coming to the 11th round. Not many picks left here. We've got
funny story actually.
Round out and back.
We were in an auction. We were in, the auction draft I was talking to you boys about in the chat.
Yes.
So obviously, for those listeners who aren't familiar, auction draft isn't a draft like this. It's a draft where you have a picture, you get a real estate, right? Same deal. You've all got an amount of money. You can choose how much you want to bid on someone, outbid someone, and you have to make that money last a team. We had someone go super early on Brian, thinking it was Bijan, and they overpaid about 37 of their $200 cap on. So it was a smart play. Obviously, Brian Robinson got nominated like second overall.
Yeah.
And so obviously the person was just jumping the gun, super pumped up, misread the situation, chucked a $37 bid on, and no one outbid. And they thought they were geniuses until they realized. So
that is painful.
It was for them.
Oh my God. Auction drafts. If anyone has not tried an auction draft, hey, I was in my first one ever last year in that league that we were in. That was an auction draft. It went for 4 hours. Well, I don't know that I've had much more fun in an auction. Like that auction draft, don't think I've had much more fun in a draft than that. It was a blast.
I was the same because I'd never been in one either. So it was new for me, and it was like trying to take what I know about what I do in drafts and trying to actually take it to dollar value was interesting. So yeah, it was a fun experience, and I wouldn't mind jumping in another one again this year because it was a lot of fun.
Jacko, you organise that for us, mate. No,
they're a stress addict. Those things. It's pressure.
You're not doing one of those in a free league, are you? If you're going to go through that stress, you better be earning some money.
And they do take 4 hours. Like we finished at 12:15. Like it's proper.
Yeah. And I think that's the fun thing there too, is you could see guys. We're Tay and I were new to that, and there was plenty of guys who were new to that in the league that we drafted in. You can see the guys who were experienced because they were pretty happy to let some of the big high price guys just fly because they knew that they would have dollars for later and they could be picking up some pretty handy players at $1, $2 because they were just going to be outbidding people who had nothing left in the coffers. And It took me a little while to learn what was going on there, and
just
I ended up winding up being one of the people who had a couple of bucks left toward the end, so it wasn't so bad. But early on, I kind of got a little bit enamored with a couple of people and threw some cash and went, shit, classic rookie era. Hey, Tay, do you want to talk us through your pick while I'm making my pick?
Yeah, I just took the cokehead. I've laughed at people being a cokehead, being a Jalen Coker enthusiast, because I obviously like Ted, but I also realised the value at the end of the draft in him because he was obviously playing quite well, and I really do think the Xavier Leggett experience is over. I think it's all Tet and Coker this year. So I think even if he is the B to Tet being the A, I still think there's an opportunity there for him. So at the end of a draft, you never know, Tet might miss time. I just think it's worth it at this point of the draft.
Yeah. Mate, I'm going to make it worth at this point of the draft too. I'm just going to stack Matt Stafford with Puka Nacua. That's what I mentioned earlier. That might be a move to make. And at this point too, he's probably the first player I drop if I see someone who's in free agent start to throw up a few points as well, because, just he can't do it with his legs. He's all arm. And you have to work a lot harder to get the points when you're only throwing 4 points for a touchdown, and you're not getting the point for every 10 yards with your legs, and you have to throw 25 yards. Like that economy is really tough. Jake Ferguson goes straight after, and we're about to get Jackson back on the clock. Mate, I'm going to read down your whole team here, this championship team, Jackson. I hope you don't mind that I'm about to just name all your studs here. But CD Lamb, Devon Archain, Breece Hall, Travis Etienne, Jalen Waddle, Tucker Kraft, Marvin Harrison, then quarterback Trevor Lawrence, wide receiver Jalen Reed, and then Brock Purdy as the second quarterback. Starting to get to the pointy end here. You're going to have 3 picks left, and you've got all your major starters, and you've got some flex decisions made. You've got your onesies. How do you pad out these last couple of picks? What's the strategy here for you?
Initially, I obviously need a running back, and so I'm going for a straight handcuff in this next. Where we go, right on the clock right now. He's 30 years old. There'll be a rising team. He had a shocking year last year, but there's still some juice left in the tank, and I reckon he's going to be a goal line touchdown guy after Etienne does all the work. We're bringing in Alvin Kamara as a late backup for my boy.
Well, and I was wondering what it would take before we saw Alvin Kamara go, because he has not been quite really anything near what he had been in previous years for the last 2 seasons. But I don't think he goes away. Unless something happens where he can go to a team who are on the verge of winning a championship to finish his career, I just think he stays a Saint. He just keeps turning up and being there. I don't know whether he's a third down back or whether he's just a spell ETN. I just think he's still going to have a role there, and as long as he wants to be a Saint, I think they'll just keep letting him be a Saint.
The drop-off was annoying, but Kamara 2 years ago destroys Etienne of now. The quality difference of Pete Kamara was outstanding. So we're either asking for an Etienne injury and he's just the perfect backup, or we're just asking for a few goal line carries, a nice little flex play here and there if they have easy matchups. So I'm happy taking a chance on a guy that's got. I'd rather take a chance on him, for example, than Rodriguez that went the pick before. At least I've got that proven history of what has been versus what could be.
You're also in that lovely position of, so you've got ETN and you've got Kamara now, and this is something you were talking about a little earlier with handcuffing. So for those who aren't familiar with handcuffing too, my idea is there if you think that there's a reasonable workload for the player who's the starter in that team and the one who's going to see the most field position, if then that something happens to that player, you take who you think will assume practically that entire role, and you're getting, essentially in this case, ETN was your 4th round pick. You're now saying, I'm going to kind of insure it with having Kamara, who might return that 4th round value for an 11th round pick if anything were to happen to ETN, who, don't know if anyone knows, ETN, not been a picture of health in his career so far, so he's definitely missed some time. And that's the idea of handcuffing. Some people really believe in it, some people not so much.
What a pick.
Now, Tay, we've had a few picks. We've gone Darnold, Gadsden, Sadiq, Shakir. That rounds out that round. So a quarterback, 2 tight ends, and a wide receiver. On the way back, Brenton Strange, my boy from the Jags. We get Cooper, the rookie from the New York Jets, Omar Cooper. And then I think this is the one that I heard you cough about, Tay.
Tyler Shuck, my absolute boy. If I was ever to take a backup quarterback, which I never do in one quarterback leagues, he would be it. I just love him. I really like the Saints offense with him. It's why I'm high on Olave. That's why I was even considering taking him in my 3rd round pick, even when I already had 2 wide receivers. So, yeah, I'm just high. Obviously, I've talked about Callum Moore as the coach. Yeah, I see good things for the Saints offense this year. So, yeah, I'm just really high on Shuck, and I think he was super underrated coming out of the draft last year.
Now, Jackie, I need you to give some shit to Picklekins because that is Jackson Dart and now Tyler Shuck in a 1 quarterback league. So feel free to just hang some on that one because it's three quarterbacks, and I'm not sure people were knocking down the door to take another quarterback anyway.
I just think he's taken trading seriously. You know what I mean?
Of course.
I think he's relying on some injuries, and I think he's going to hold the trade value quite high. And I don't know, maybe talk the commission to turning it into a dynasty league, and get some picks for it. There's plenty of options that could be going through Pickle's head here.
I like that. We then go to Isaiah Likely, and then you're on the clock here, Jackson. What did you do with your pick? Explain to the masses, mate.
I think the Texans have an incredible defense. I think CJ Stroud had the biggest drop-off we'd seen from a stud in a long, long time, but I think he's good enough to bring it back. He's got a smart football brain. I've listened to him speak a few times. I don't know how healthy Tank Dell is going to be, and obviously all the top corners and whatnot take down Nico Collins. So Higgins showed he had a bit of toe last year, and I guess, CJ is going to need someone else as a bit of a go-to guy, a safety route, a backup guy. Should, they'd be able to pick up their offense. I mean, they've got the most insane defense in the league, but at some point the offense do have to, pull their weight. And if they do, I think Higgins could be somewhat of a T. Higgins beneficiary, just in a lesser offense.
Now I'm going to read down my team right here because we haven't recapped Taylor on my team for a little bit. I've got, starting at the top, Puka Nakua, Malik Neighbours, Kyren Williams, Garrett Wilson as my 3rd wide receiver, and then Bashal Tutin and Chuba Hubbard as my 2nd and 3rd running backs. Then I've got Cortland Sutton, Kyle Pitts. Yes, that Kyle Pitts. Ramondre Stevenson, Ricky Pearsall, and Matt Stafford. I've got 2 picks to go here. But I just can't look at Arizona running backs. They're the 2 running backs who are on the top of what's kind of left in the queue here, as they are listed in Sleeper. And to me, like immediately under them, you've got guys like Tyrone Tracy, who's behind Cam Scatterboo. We see he plays like his hair's on fire, and for that reason, only played 10 games last year. And a guy like Woody Marks, who was fine as a running back too and picked up some work when there was issues with the guy in front of him. I'm going to go and take just Woody Marks here. And he's like a 5th running back. I don't have high hopes for him. But if he turns into something, then he can be a trade piece. He might just be a handy little bye-week maneuver as well, depending on how that all shakes out. So, at this stage, low cost, right? Almost nobody here is a bad pick in terms of how much it's costing you. You can justify why you think there's a bit upside. Then, generally anyone picked down here is a fairly decent pick, and I think you could do worse than Woody Marks. We see the bulletproof quarterback of all quarterbacks, Jordan Love, going next to be behind Jaden Daniels for Tomo, having taken 2 tight ends in a row. And then we get Dallas Goedert is Tay's tight end. Mate, what do you like about Dallas Goedert?
It's not that I'm super high on him. It's just I feel like he's a great value at this point of the draft. I already mentioned I think everything kind of gets funneled between him and Devontae Smith, and that's why I'm worried about Makai Lemon. So, yeah, I know they just drafted a tight end, but I don't know if that was so much about win now. I think it was a bit of a succession plan. I don't know if they used more 2 tight end sets. I don't know, but I just think in general, like they've got it still there, and he's a trusted, adversary to Jalen Hurts, and why would they not keep going to him? And he's also got super good stats when either AJ Brown or Devontae Smith is out. So I just think at this point of the draft, I actually think he's a pretty decent plug and play at the tight end position.
He ended up with something in the range of 60 targets on the year and 11 touchdowns, which is ridiculous. Not 60 receptions, 60 targets and 11 touchdowns. So it's a heck of a line to try and repeat, but that was for him to finish at tight end 6, and I don't know that at this point you're expecting him to do that, but you're also not expecting him to be so lean on targets. Your team at the moment, Jamar Chase, Rashee Rice, Derrick Henry, Devontae Adams, a running back we shall not name, Bucky Irving, Jadarian Price, Caleb Williams, Alec Pierce, Rico Dad, a couple of wide receivers here, Jalen McMillan and Jalen Coker, and then Dallas Goedert. to wrap this up, we've got Malik Willis is the second last pick in that's the 12th round. And then Abigail Fozzie, he's just gone and picked only the goatiest goat to ever go, Tom Brady, behind Drake May. I think that's the right call. Drake May, the starter, Tom Brady, his backup. How do you like that, fellas?
It's that point of the draft, isn't it? It's not much else more to say.
Yeah.
Someone wants their viral YouTube moment, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks, Alex. Well done.
He's come to the right podcast to do that. We're big in Botswana. We are. He's gonna get the reaction.
Ooh,
Jordan Mason is the final pick for Fozzie to wrap that out. His team looks like this: Jameer Gibbs, Aaron Jones, Jakrosky Merritt, Bijan Robinson, and Mason are his running backs. His wide receivers: Terry McLaurin, Lad McConkey, Mackay Lemon, Jordan Addison, Rashid Shaheed, and then quarterback Drake May, tight end Brock Bowers. Just throws Tom Brady in there for good measure. Big Pappy finishes his draft with Tyrone Tracy. So he's got Bijan Robinson, Cam Scatterbo, David Montgomery, Kenneth Gainwell, Jonathan Brooks. Ty Tracy, a bit of a handcuff to Scatterbo. And then his wide receivers, Nico Collins, Ibuka, Watson, Washington, Wandale Robinson, quarterbacks Malik Willis, and his tight end is Trey McBride. Tay, you took Matty Golden to finish up. You need to sing about this or what?
No, I was just wondering who the fuck the next person was. I was like, because normally it's a joke. Normally it's like Henry Ruggs or like someone, and I'm like, I legitimately just don't even know who that is. I took Matthew Golden, as a last-ditch shot. We've talked about not really knowing exactly where the passes are getting funneled. They obviously took him in the first round last year. I just think there's a chance he moves into a bigger role this year. But I know it's an issue. That's why he's my last pick, because we never know where it's going, and the problem is sometimes like everyone just kind of gets an even share at the Green Bay Packers and no one becomes relevant. That could easily happen again, but I just think it's worth taking a shot on the first round draft capital.
Yeah, fair enough. Your team to wrap up is
Julio!
Chase, Rasheed Rice, Derrick Henry, Devontae Adams, Bucky Irving, Jadarian Price, Caleb Williams, Alec Pierce, Rico Daddle, Jalen McMillan, Jalen Coker, Dallas Goddard, Matthew Golden. Have a go at this. We've got a final pick from Tomo. He goes and takes Emmett Johnson. Yep, household name. I had to look him up, and he doesn't even have a picture in here, so there's a bit of a backstory there, I think. But we've got Christian McCaffrey, AJ Brown, Chris Olave, Luther Burden, Daniels, RJ Harvey, DK Metcalf, or as we call him, the more expensive Michael Pittman, Kyle Monongai, and then Chris Godwin, Mark Andrews, Dalton Kincaid as a nice tight end sandwich. Jordan Love as a second quarterback. My side as Puka Nakua, Malik Neighbors, Kyren Williams, Garrett Wilson, Bashal Tootin, Tuba Hubbard, then Cortland Sutton, Kyle Pitts, Ramondre Stevenson, Ricky Pearsall, Matty Stafford, Willie Marks, Tyler Algier.
Chicky, bang, bang.
Team. He's got Jackson Smith and Jigba. He's got Chase Brown. He's got Jeremiah Love, which is a bit of a bold pick. Tetairoa McMillan, Mike Evans, DeAndre Swift, Justin Herbert, George Kittle, Quentin Johnson, Bo Nix as a second quarterback, Jake Ferguson as a second tight end, Rashad Whitesand. Tay, you said it. Julio! These last picks are fantastic, by the way. We've got a couple more crackers to go.
I also love that Picklekins has 4 quarterbacks, and one of them is Nathan Peterman.
I cannot wait to get to these.
What was that? What was that about? Making sure that with a live draft of humans that you wouldn't just get weird shit. We just throw that out the window. That's what Australians do, people. We'll have a bit of fun.
If we didn't have a sense of humour, I don't know what else we'd be adding to the world's diaspora.
Pickles is welcome to join any of my cash leagues any day of the week as well.
There's an open invite.
Have a look at that team. We love donations.
Oh, mate, I'll get to his team in just a second. I've got Jesus King, who's got Josh Allen, Amari Hampton, Jalen Hurts, Javonte Williams in his first 4 picks. Then turn to some wide receivers with DJ Moore and Jameson Williams. Then got Sam Laporta, Jalen Warren, Michael Pittman, Stephon Diggs, who's currently teamless, but we expect he'll turn up somewhere. Chris Rodriguez, who's now at the Jags, Hunter Henry, and Ty J. Spears, the ACL-free running back. Jackson. Your team, the championship team, are run here. We've got CeeDee Lamb, Von Chain, Bruce Hall, Travis Etienne, Jalen Waddle, Tucker Kraft, Marvin Harrison Jr., Trevor Lawrence, Jaden Reed, Brock Purdy, Alvin Kamara, Jaden Higgins. Who did you finish up with?
We finished with Chiggy Wham Wham, baby. I reckon he's going to be Jaden Daniels' safety blanket. Once Terry takes all the attention, Chiggy's getting those inside runs.
I mean, surely Zach Ertz is done, right? I mean, God. Can he just be done?
He's a free agent now, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
his boy toy's gone.
He keeps on turning up. So hopefully Chiggy does all right. Do you know last year he was the Titans' leading receiver? Isn't that horrible?
Yep.
What a season. Go the boys. Go the Titans. How far?
The only week I picked him in starts of the week, Tay scored a 0 as well. So fucking Chig can...
By the way, Kyler Murray just went behind Nathan Peterman. So this has been a great draft, guys. Thank you very much.
Let's give Skittles' team a rundown. He's got Armin Rasen Brown, Kenneth Walker, Quinshot Judkins, Devonta Smith, Tony Pollard, Brian Thomas, Travis Kelce, and I think this is where it gets fun. It then goes Dak Prescott, Josh Downs, Casey Concepcion, Sam Darnold, Isaiah Likely, and then Joe Mixon, who's teamless. And I'm not sure he's going to end up anywhere. He didn't even play a minute last year. He is now teamless, so we'll see what happens there. But, mate, you could spend less. You cannot spend less on a guy who is only upside, if he's anything at all. Picklekins. This is the best team of the draft, I reckon. He's got a cupboard full of guys who can pass. Jonathan Taylor, Drake London to kick it off. Lamar Jackson, you like that. And Tay, we don't mind a bit of Loveland, especially in SuperCoach Classic this year. Carnell Tate and Jackson Dart. Then Michael Wilson, J.K. Dobbins, Romeo Dubs, Zach Charbonnet, Orionde Gadsden. And then he finishes it out with your boy, Tyler Shark. And, mate, you said this before, Nathan Peterman. I heard some news about him this week. Did he finally hang him up?
Did he finally score positive points? Is that what we're waiting for?
He didn't score negatives. So that's a positive. Nathan Peterman. The other great thing about Nathan Peterman, and he actually was part of the prize that went to Josh Foote last year as the winner of our SuperCoach League in the NFL SuperCoach. He went and got a Seahawks jersey, because Seahawks man, and he got Peterman's name on it. But they've had a joke in their league, and they've been calling him Pateman. So that's what they got on the shirt. Good on you, Josh Foote. What a champion, and thank you.
FYI, if anyone's wondering why we haven't shown any proof of why that we gave away a jersey, it's because Joshua Foote fucking lives on another planet. The bloke's never in the country. Like, we've been trying so hard for him to actually pick up his jersey, but he basically lives out fucking singing sea shanties and shit. So he will actually send us the jersey that when he eventually hits land. So, but for anyone that was in our league last year, I promise we'll show proof that we actually gave away a jersey.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. We had a whole custom-made thing, so it's we definitely can show that we got this thing made, but I want to see it on his shoulders. Our last two guys, our captain here, he's got James Cook, Saquon Barkley. I think that's a pretty strong start for late first-round pick and early second-round pick. And then Zay Flowers, T. Higgins, Travion Henderson, Tyler Warren, who caused a bit of consternation at the time of that pick. Jacoby Myers, Baker Mayfield, Xavier Worthy, Patrick Mahomes. Then Kenyon Sadiq, who's that rookie tight end for the Jets. Omar Cooper at the Jets as well. So just taking a few upside shots pretty late. And then picking up James Conner. I mean, I took Tyler Algier in the last round as well. So it's just like one of these guys will probably end up on the field a bit more than the other, maybe. So that's his team. And then the last one here, we've got Dude C2110. Finishes with Justin Jefferson, Ashton Genty, George Pickens, Josh Jacobs, Roma Dunze, Joe Burrow, Harold Fannin, Jordan Tyson, the rookie for the New Orleans Saints, Blake Corum, Travis Hunter, Khalil Shakir in the 11th round, Brenton Strange, and finishes it off with Kyler Murray, who, man, I don't know, I can imagine where he ends up being a top 10 quarterback. We've seen Kevin O'Connell do weird things with weirder stuff. But that is the entire draft board from top to bottom. Guys, we're going to urge people to have their say about which team they think of all the ones that were drafted was the best. You can urge them to give us feedback, especially since we've stuck our necks out. We had ourselves on here live talking through our picks. Tay, we've got this up live on YouTube now. It will still be on YouTube. The podcast will come out as later in the week as well. So we want people to just react everywhere they can find us on this. Yeah.
Yeah, and look, we're gonna put a GoFundMe for Jackson's dog for a sleep apnea mask because he's just been fucking snoring his ass off this entire night. It's so good. But yes, back to what Matty said. We are going to have socials everywhere with our teams, and just to point out, like, please vote and just let us know how shit we are. This was a really fun exercise. I know people were being a bit, funny at the end and taking things, but it was really good to have 12 people online doing a draft, super coaches, because that's obviously who we want to see. And for anyone who hasn't tried draft, I hope this sort of helped you with what doing a draft looks like. But obviously, we're going to be doing a lot of, draft and classic content moving forward. So please look out on our socials and everything we post in the groups because, it'd be great to hear your thoughts.
And Jackson, it's been a little while since you've ridden with Tay and I
know
that there was a lot of trauma after the first time, and it's taken a little while to build you back up to the man that you were. But mate, thank you for having the bravery to come and join us tonight.
Boys, my pleasure.
Time around.
Nah, easy work, mate. I think last time I did it, I was brand new to the chat and hadn't met you guys properly. And now we've had a full season, with each other, NFL, NBA, NRL, Soccer World Cup. It's all happening. So,
and we can all catch up in Melbourne. We're all going to be catching up in Melbourne for the game. How good's that going to be?
Yeah, can't wait. It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be really great, and I expect that quite a lot of the fantasy community is going to be there. Tay and I are not going to be hiding. We are going to be out there trying to make sure we meet people. And I mean, maybe I'll hide a bit because I'm only 5'10", 5'11", but Tay, you're a bit taller than that. You stand out a bit in the crowd. Jacko, you're a bit taller. You stand out a bit in the crowd. I kind of tend to blend in a bit.
It's all right, mate. We're all 6'4". Like we're averaging out to about 6'4". We're all good, mate. To say we're picking you up.
Oh my God, I need to buy stilts just so I can come up your shoulders, lads.
We raised you up so you can stand on mountains.
That's going to be great. I'm looking forward to getting down to Melbourne and seeing all that. I also managed. I'm going to be in London for a little bit through the season during the NFL games there, and the mighty Jags are playing the Texans while I'm there. So I'm actually going to go and see my hopeless Jaguars play a game at Wembley. How about that? So it's going to be a great year of NFL.
A division matchup in Wembley. How is that?
It's going to be amazing. But Jacko, look, we're going to have you really involved in what we do this year too. We've been working on the SuperCoach thing, and we've just got a whole bunch of stuff that is coming up that we're going to be able to announce. You're going to be around quite a bit. You're going to feature in quite a bit of what we talk about.
Yeah, there's some exciting stuff coming. Yeah, hopefully it brings everybody up, which should be be exciting few months ahead for all sport community, and especially the NFL launching. It's SuperCoach team start building soon, draft starts soon, so it's all happening.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. Fellas, we should wrap this one up and get out of here. Thank you so much, Jacko, for joining us firstly. And, mate, we'll make sure we get you back through again, especially as the NFL season kicks off. So,
thanks, Jackson. Sure thank you.
Tay rings, you don't ignore him.
Looking forward to it, boys. It's time for a cup of tea.
Oh, yeah.
100%. Tay, thank you for everything. The greatest analyst on our island, mate. Thank you again for dropping your pearls of wisdom, mate.
No worries, mate. And again, thanks to everyone that's been on the draft. Obviously, we couldn't get everyone on the actual show, but thank you so much to the super coaches that reached out to me when I put it out the information, and to get 9 people plus us 3 on, and then having a waiting list of guys. We'll definitely do more of this stuff in the preseason. So thank you so much, super coaches, for being involved in something that's happening so early in June. It really, really makes us feel like this season 2 of the SuperCoach Halfa is going to be great. So thank you.
And how did we go? We did it live for the first time. Next time around, we didn't realize we were going to be able to do this on the way that we have today. So we'll actually have a bit more notice about going live next time around. Let us know how you think we did. But also thank you all so much for your support, for continuing to back what we do as a product here on the SuperCoach Halfa, whether it's for draft leagues, whether it's for classic leagues, whether it's in SuperCoach or if it's on another provider. We try to make sure we provide some information that's going to help you get an edge. You can find my writings on Substack. You can find those turned into podcasts here on this channel. You can find everything the boys at G'day Gridiron do. God, I love those guys, and they've been doing some great deep dives through this preseason. And very soon also they'll suck it into divisional previews. We also do the same through the same time of year. It's very good. And then also our mate Manjot Melly, the Pastry Press NFL getting that content up there too, not only through Substack, but also on the YouTube. A lot of YouTube shorts, very dynamic, and does quite a bit with Australian gridiron as the season goes on. I get the benefit of working with him. So find all of that on Substack, YouTube, all of the social media through Aussie Gridiron Network and our own show's handles. You can find Taylor at Taylor41. You can find me at Matty Podcast. Catch you all later, fellas. We're back in about 2 weeks to do another one of these. Can't wait.
Hooroo. Thank you, everyone.
Hooroo.
Thanks for having me, boys. Take care.